Hey everybody, and welcome to Hair of the Dogcast, your favorite podcast about video games and beer and video games. And it is Indie Games Month. We made it. I'm so excited. We are part of the HyperX Podcast Network, proud members of that. Check out all those amazing shows at podcast.hyperx.com. My name is Brad, and I like video games. It's a problem.
My name's Tyler. I like beer. It's also kind of a bigger problem, I guess.
Tyler, welcome to your first Indie Games Month as the newest co-host.
Yay, I made it.
Yes, Indie Games Month was something I wouldn't have cared about until I met our friend Dylan, who couldn't make it tonight, it being a weeknight, and he is a hardworking boy. But returning to the show, the last time you were here, I think, was the Doom episode, right? Not Doom.
I wish.
The Diablo.
Diablo episode after that actually was the base building episode. So we talked heavily Fallout, Death Stranding.
Yes, our favorite homes.
Yes, exactly. So this is David Jones. I'm also a beer, alcohol, video game connoisseur.
I've seen you very drunk before, and I love every second of it.
Yeah. I got pretty happy.
So. Yeah. And for the first time, my friend Miles, I tracked him down in a bar and said, "You're my friend."
Yeah, giant video game nerd going on 2 decades-ish, and cocktail enthusiast.
Master. You work at...
I don't know about master.
Well, you work at my favorite cocktail bar in town, Lost Whale.
Hey, it's my favorite, too.
For many good reasons. But yeah, we were... I was out with Carly one night, and then I said the word Hades, and you had just gotten done working. You were sitting next to me.
Oh, yeah, just perked right up.
And you're like, Hades? And then luckily, Carly knew the people sitting on the other side because I was useless to her for the next hour, probably. Yes. What kind of gamer would you say you are, Miles?
I dig on arcade cabinets a lot when I can find them. I started pretty heavily console, but that was very just high school of me. And then basically as soon as I could get my hands on a decent PC, that's been my pretty much sole proprietorship.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of the roguelites, both. Hades is to date my favorite and my most hours in.
Yeah, it being my only roguelike, it is also my favorite.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, we were talking about different indie games we might be covering this month. And David, this was when I said all the episodes that might happen this year, you said you wanted to be on this episode.
You know, I played Hades. I'm not great at roguelites, roguelikes. Like I played Binding of Isaac. And I would do okay. Like I could beat Mom once or twice and then just have a streak of just failing. Same thing with Hades. Like I think it took me 20-something tries until I finally beat Hades, and then I just had a streak of not being able to do it. I will admit I did put God mode on when I first tried.
Interesting.
So that's my weakness.
Yeah. Before we get too much into our topic today, which is Hades, we wanted to cover just a couple quick news items. We're not going to go too deep in the news. But Tyler, what do we got?
Well, we can start it off with Sonic the Hedgehog 3 came out in 1994. And just recently they were
this is news.
They were celebrating Sonic's 31st birthday. And the creator of the game apparently let it slip on Twitter that the soundtrack for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was written by Michael Jackson.
Did you know this at all before, Tyler?
No.
Okay.
No, this was total news to me. Apparently, it's been rumored for a long time because the soundtrack for the first game sounds a lot like Smooth Criminal or Black or White. I don't know how it could sound like both those songs, but people say it does.
Yeah. I think that might be more that they were just fans of Michael Jackson. And definitely there's a few songs where it's like, well, we just kind of...
we just
took something and kind of transcribed a little bit. But had you guys heard this about Sonic the Hedgehog and Michael Jackson before?
I've
Not at all.
Yeah. So the popular rumor was for a very long time that Michael Jackson worked on the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 soundtrack. And whether it was because of strange sexual allegations or there was also the rumor he just didn't like the way it sounds. For some reason, he just removed his name from it. It was never confirmed. Yuji Naka was the head of Sonic team for a long time. And he He made Balan Wonderworld recently and it fucking bombed. It did terrible. It did really bad. And so they kind of ostracized him and put him out to pasture. So I think he just kind of doesn't give a fuck. Because it was someone just like the Sonic Origins game came out. And they're like, the Sonic 3 music has changed. Like, why would they take out the Michael Jackson music? And then people were like, we've been trying to figure this out for 30 years.
And you just casually drop it. Like,
which he did.
And he like doubled down on it too, because in the Twitter feed or thread that he had, he posted a photo from a helicopter that he said he took with his own camera of Neverland Ranch on a visit there back in the 90s. So like, it seemed like he was making a case for it, but now he's walking back on it. And he put out a tweet that said, and I quote, "I feel like I'm being misunderstood a lot, probably because I don't speak English and I'm using a translation tool. Sorry." So I don't know what the hell's going on, but Michael Jackson...
The picture was mistranslated too.
Yeah. It's all very confusing, but apparently the Prince of Pop is responsible for Sonic 3's soundtrack.
That's pretty awesome. I know that he was... it was like known he was involved, but it was never really said. But... that was exciting.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. As someone who didn't know the rumor, my mind was pretty blown. Just such a weird connection or like collaboration.
All right, David, what beer did you bring for us to enjoy here?
So this is the first of 2 beers. Marin made me clean out the fridge and said, you can't have any more beer in here. So I brought the Chonk Sunday Sour from Drecker, peanut butter and jelly supreme.
I do love a peanut butter and jelly, like a pastry sour is a cool thing.
It smells just like a PB&J.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Have you had Drecker before, Miles?
A handful of times, yeah. We carried a few of them when I used to work downtown.
That is delicious.
That is phenomenal.
I would say definitely better when they're better. Sours of late. I had some funky ones. I was telling Brad I had one of their carrot cake slang du jour.
You didn't love it, you said.
I didn't love it. It was neon orange. Tasted like carrot and cream cheese, very creamy. That one, unfortunately, was a drain pour.
Miles, you look perplexed.
My taste buds are very confused as to what I'm drinking here.
Yeah.
Have you had a pastry sour before?
Pastry sour? No.
Yeah, a pastry shower. I'll have one of those, please. Yeah. I remember the first one I had was at 1840, and it was the same thing. It was a peanut butter and jelly sour, but you get like the fruity tartness from the jelly and then just like the peanut butter, which actually goes well on anything.
Yeah. No, that's really good. Eagle Park just put out a peanut butter and jelly sour.
Which one was it?
Jelly School.
Oh, okay. That's the one that you made before.
I mean, it's solid. It's not as like pungent as this one, but I think it being a pastry sour also kind of helps this one out.
Yeah.
From Software is finishing up their next game already, apparently.
Wow. I saw that one. I'm super hype.
Yeah. Miyazaki just revealed in an interview that their next game is in the final stages of development. And he also said that Elden Ring will be getting DLC and updates along with it.
Yes.
So it's not... he's not just talking about Elden Ring DLC. There's a whole nother From Software game that is apparently really close to being done.
From Software, though, is bigger than just Souls games. They did like tank games before Miyazaki joined.
Armored Core.
Armored Core.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what the leak suggests it is. But they're also hiring a whole bunch of people, like in recruiting, I'm guessing trying to bank off the success of Elden Ring. So that's pretty cool. As like a new From
I saw
Software
that they
fan.
started hiring again for new projects now as well.
Yeah. So
You play Elden Ring?
Oh, God, yes.
Nice.
I think I have like 4 characters and haven't finished the game yet.
Okay.
Because I just get distracted and want to try entirely new builds and hate respecking.
Yeah. Well, at least you can respec.
Yeah, but especially in a system where respecking costs a limited item the way that they did in Elden Ring.
Yeah.
That you need those larval tiers, and it's like there's like 9 or 10 in the game that you can get.
I don't know.
I think there's like 16 or 18.
Even so, like,
Yeah.
you got to go way out of your way. You got to find the weird transforming enemies. Half of them you got to fight extra bosses to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just always end up starting over and like rebuilding characters from scratch. I think I've got like 4 or 5 different pure stat builds.
It's weird going back and replaying areas because the first time you go through it, you think this is easily like the biggest, craziest castle ever, just Stormvale. And you go back in and you're like, I get it. and I know where I'm going, and it's easy to kind of see it. But the first time you're going through some of those places, it is daunting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a little more straightforward after you've been through it a couple times. So yeah, replaying it, I'm enjoying it. I have 5 characters, I think, going. I have a few. So many different play styles, and they also did a VR game from Software for the PSVR, which I have been wanting to play, but I haven't bought it because it's still like $40. It's called Deracine. I think it's about like a lady ghost who's trying to figure out some mystery, but Miyazaki's involved. He's one of the creators. I'm like super curious about it, but someday I'll play it.
Today is not that day.
Today is not that day.
Yeah, well, in the world of news, there's not a ton going on. You had the Nintendo Direct Mini where they announced Persona 5 Royal and a slew of other games.
Yeah, what did they all announce in there?
Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak.
You guys excited for Monster Hunter?
I fell off a little bit, but I've played... I didn't play any of like the earlier ones, but I played a lot of World, and I've got a moderate amount of time into Rise. I didn't get super late game on that one, though.
What do you play on? What do you play? Is that on the computer?
Yeah, on PC.
I've never played a Monster Hunter game, and it's always touted as one of the big things.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. So I'm always excited when someone knows what the fuck is going on.
It's also one of those games where it's like you have to... It's almost like doing homework right before every major fight. Because the concept of the hunts themselves is that you pick a specific monster or sometimes a set of 2 or 3 monsters you have to hunt, and every monster has their own weaknesses. They all have different body parts that can be broken or staggered by either different elements or different weapons. There's an insane number of like hunter's tools and extra items you can bring. There's a curative for every status effect in the game.
Yeah.
That you have to carry with you separately if you want to be able to cure different status effects. So you have to like research the monsters, prepare ahead of time for what they might do to you, as well as what you want to do to them.
So it takes a lot of time and effort. Like you can't just kind of half-ass it.
Yeah. And being a not, westernized or a moderately westernized version of a game, there's not as much tutorial to kind of guide you along. A lot of it's really just figure out what the hell you're doing.
I like that.
There's smaller pop-ups, like it'll tell you like, hey, this item cures this thing. But at no point are they going to be like, don't forget to bring the item with you.
My favorite pop-up is from the Soul series, though. It's like, you died. It's like, oh, okay.
Sweet.
That's happened to me a lot.
Yeah, thanks. Didn't notice.
Yeah. Persona, I think that's pretty cool. It's coming to Switch, but there's the rule that eventually every single game comes to the Switch. Do either David, Miles, you guys have a Switch?
Yeah.
I don't know one now.
Yeah, you got a Switch. You saw I accidentally brought Breath of the Wild twice because I forgot that I borrowed my copy of it and I didn't know I owned it, so I bought another one. I actually own 2 Breaths of the Wild, Breath of the Wilds.
Thanks, Brad.
Yeah. They announced quite a few games there. I don't know if any of them were like crazy big news. The new Mario and Rabbids game I'm very excited for, which I think it's a tactical RPG set in a Mario universe.
It's very like XCOM style, isn't it?
XCOM.
I'd like to play that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Give it a try.
Mario and Rabbids. The Switch is the weirdest pricing. Those games are priced so weird. Because Mario and Rabbids, it's either $15 or $60. It's never been 30 or 40. I don't think it's either. Yep, it's on sale again, or it's not. But that's definitely one of the games I always recommend because it is a really good tactical RPG. I don't care for the Rabbids characters; they seem like fancy minions, which I don't want. But no,
It's definitely that same niche character.
yeah. Look, it's a minion with a peach wig. Great. Yeah, Mario and Rabbids is great. The Portal 1 and 2 is coming to Switch. Everything's coming to Switch.
Nice.
10 Mega Man Battle Network games for 2023, which just seemed like a whole bunch of Mega Man.
That hurts. That hurts me a lot.
Yeah.
We do Mega Manuary on the show. So 1 month of the year, it's Mega Man games. So I had to beat all Mega Mans 1 through 10 and Mega Man X 1 through 8. Plus all of the handhelds for those, because I like torture, I guess.
Sounds like a lot of work.
But yeah, I forgot that network games existed, and it made me sad actually seeing that announcement. Return to Monkey Island. If you like those Monkey Island games or whatever, If Tom was here, he would be so excited. But
they also announced the Pac-Man remastered, the repack.
yeah, the one. If anyone wanted more Pac-Man World, which they don't,
You got it now.
oh my god,
Here you go.
It's like in the trailer's like, do a butt bounce.
I don't want to.
Super Bomberman's getting a sequel, which I've never been a Bomberman person. I don't like Bomberman. I think his design is stupid, but there are some people who might be excited for 16-player Bomberman.
Oh, wow, yeah. No, thanks.
Yeah.
On that.
No thanks.
That feels like the kind of party game you buy when your buddies are drunk and you all play like 3 times and then you never touch it again.
Yep. And then you go back to Mario Party or Mario Kart or Smash Brothers.
Exactly.
There was some cool looking newer indie games. One of them was like Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. That one looked kind of cool.
That one and what was the one with the deer? Like the
fawn and the wolf.
Yeah, that one looked cool.
The animation for that looks great.
Yeah.
It's a super cute looking co-op game. Like Carly and I would go sit on the couch and she could be a cute wolf jumping on a log. She could get that. Yeah. It Takes Two was like a relationship test. Yeah, for sure. There was another game in the Direct Mini too. Like it looked like a Chrono Trigger style RPG. The demo's available. We'll talk about this on another Dogcast down the line, but I definitely want to check it out.
Yeah. And then lastly, Atari's 50th anniversary.
Yep. Atari's 50 years old.
Yeah.
And 20 years older than when I cared about games. I've only played an Atari very briefly at game conventions, and that's just, I think that ship sailed.
I had Frogger for the PlayStation 1 when I was a kid, and I loved that game. And then my mom, we lost the PlayStation 1 at some point. I lost Frogger, who knows? But I always would talk about Frogger, and my mom bought an Atari and was like, look, you can play Frogger again. I'm like, that's just a green X.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Where's the frog? So that's my first memory of an Atari.
Yeah.
She was psyched. That is the very brief news this week.
Yeah, no time for too much. Just a little bit of news.
Just a little bit.
And as far as what has everyone been playing lately? Tyler?
Hades and only Hades for several days now.
You made it, though.
Yeah, well, I also had my brother's wedding, so I've been very busy the last few weeks with that, with all the family in town.
Yeah.
So I haven't played many video games at all, but the only one I've played is Hades.
I have been playing Disco Elysium quite a bit because that is coming up on next week. Yeah, that'll be our next week episode for Indie Games Month, and I have to finish that. I'm not loving it, but it's fine. I don't think it plays great on the Xbox versus it's native to the PC. And I think if I hooked a mouse into my Xbox, it might be more enjoyable because it does not want to control with my thumbsticks very well. But the story's cool. I mean, I'm investigating a murder and I'm drunk hungover and finding essentially most of what you're finding while you're solving this murder is like, oh, I lost my gun, I lost my badge. You find your car and you're like, whose car is this? And you find out it's your car that you lost. So it's fun. But yeah, we'll see. I hear there's like a twist or something, so we'll see if I like it. But apart from that, I haven't really been playing too much. Gonna play Hollow Knight next.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Nice.
Never played that before, surprisingly.
I think go ahead.
Dave, what you been playing?
I've been jumping around a little bit. I picked up a used copy of Fallout New Vegas for PlayStation 3. So I've never played that before. I've done Fallout 3, Fallout 4. Did not play 76, but found a pretty good copy of New Vegas. But I've not been able to play it. I've been having some really bad bugs.
You have so many bugs it's not playable?
I can get somewhere, but I can't find somebody for the next quest for the main story.
Like the quest is locked out for some?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're playing
somebody got killed.
You're playing the PS3?
Yeah.
And is it just not updating or something? Like, should the bugs still be there? Are you online with it at all?
I don't know. I got to look more into it.
Okay.
But I think something just broke in the game. Somebody got killed. And I can't progress in the main story any further.
Okay.
But I moved over to Doom 2016.
Is it your first time?
For Doom?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I've played it several times. And then I played Eternal. And then went back to Doom 2016. But yeah, just been playing some those fast-paced shooters. And
I still have to play Doom Eternal. Have any of you guys play Eternal?
Yeah.
I have not.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Eternal?
I really enjoyed it.
Yep.
I think it's less. I don't know. I didn't play the really old school like Doom 64 or anything like that. I started with 2016, the newer one.
Yeah.
So I'm very new age Doom fan.
Yeah.
I'm aware of the older ones. I know their style. I really enjoyed the very frantic, just like shoot 'em up arcade style of it.
Yep.
I think Eternal probably had some better mobility, which
Okay.
is what they were really shooting for. More 360 combat, more verticality to like the level design and the actual movement of the character itself. Kind of keeps you. The arenas were designed to keep you either very frantically dashing around or very cyclically kind of following enemy spawns.
You have to move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the style itself, so it really deviates from Doom 2016, where it was very like dark and atmospheric, more realistic in Doom 2016 versus, Doom Eternal. It's a lot about like those arena combat, very fast paced, a little bit cartoony at times. And like a lot of the power ups are just kind of floating and spinning in the air, like when you pick up the super shotgun and like armor and stuff like that, versus Doom 2016. It's like you pull a gun off some guy's dead body and you have armor pickups on the ground. It feels like it's a little bit more arcadey with some of the style.
Sure.
But that's hit or miss with some people. Personally, I like 2016 a little bit more, but I think Doom Eternal improves on some things that 2016 needed.
I haven't played too much of Doom Eternal. I just it was on Game Pass, so I played a little bit of it, but it didn't grab me, which was odd. And then I don't know, it's just not as well regarded. Like Doom 2016, when that game came out, people were freaking the fuck out. And I know Eternal had some minor controversies before it came out. Like Mick Gordon, the guy who did the music, was like, they screwed me over. They didn't let me fix my music. They didn't let me make my music. And I'm like, don't mess with him.
Yeah.
He made a great soundtrack. 2016 is the most heavy metal soundtrack I've ever heard. So I was just pissing off the musician made me wary of it, but I still want to play it. I still got to check it out. Yeah. Do you actually go to heaven in it?
You go to like a version of heaven
Ish.
basically. But yeah, you go. It feels like you go everywhere. In Earth, you're in space. You have like a fort that's floating, like a giant floating cathedral as your kind of home base, and so you're all over. You get shot onto Mars, I think, out of the BFG at some point.
You get shot out of the BFG.
I think so.
Into Mars.
Into Mars.
Okay.
To like stop the demon invasion.
Leading to 6 months of you can't just shoot yourself into Mars memes.
And then he talks in Doom Eternal. Like you actually hear Doom guy talk versus like Doom 2016. He's the silent.
Does he talk at all in 2016? I know he does a lot of forcefully breaking shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if he does talk.
I don't think he does.
Okay. Well, he's better that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
Okay. Miles, what have you been playing?
Not a lot. I'm kind of in a similar boat where I've been like insanely busy lately. We've been going through some weird, I guess, personnel changes at work.
Yeah.
And so I've been just working nonstop. The little bit I've had at home, I've mostly just been playing Hades again.
Yeah.
And if I'm like out or whatever, I play a lot of like the Hearthstone on my phone or at home. Like when I'm just trying to not think that hard.
Yeah.
I play a lot of like the Hearthstone Battlegrounds. It's their 8-player like pseudo battle royale.
Okay. That's not a card game?
It is.
It is a card game. Okay.
Yeah. Although Hearthstone, I mean, the base game is a traditional card game. You build your deck, all that stuff. They have a number of like solo game modes you can play where it's almost roguelike-ish. You're building your deck piece by piece after each victory. You're getting different passive abilities and things like that. And then Battlegrounds, it's more of a auto battler where you build your war band by buying minions and then you set them up and then they just fight other people's war bands randomly.
Okay.
And it's based in like the Blizzard Activision world, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hearthstone is almost exclusively like Warcraft.
Gotcha.
World of Warcraft characters. They do crossover stuff all the time. Like they had an event a few weeks back where Diablo was one of the playable heroes in Battlegrounds, and every 4 turns, everyone would fight the Lord of Terror all at the same time.
Let's bring it back. I want to hear about this. The topic of the game, of the podcast today, we're talking about the one and only Hades. Holy shit, Hades. Man, I did not anticipate how much I was going to love this game. So, Miles, what does Hades mean to you?
To me,
Yeah.
it's legitimately the best version of a roguelite that I've played.
You say roguelite or roguelike?
Roguelite.
Okay. What's the goddamn difference here?
So the as far as I understand it, and I don't pretend to be an expert necessarily, but the concept of the entire like genre is based on a very old school game called Rogue, where every run you start with nothing, and every part of your upgrades and upgrading system happens throughout the run of the game. Mm-hmm. Permadeath system, so if you die, you lose everything you've collected, and you have to start over from the beginning. A rogue like KE is any game that has that same start from zero permadeath system. Some of them have minor unlocks, but not permanent upgrades.
Yeah.
Whereas the roguelites are things where whatever currency you've collected throughout a run, you can use to upgrade your character's base damage or base health or health regen. You can unlock major, not necessarily items, but major passive effects. Or in the case of Hades, I refer to it as a roguelite because you can unlock all of the keepsakes, all of the different weapon aspects, and upgrade those to do more damage between runs.
Okay. I didn't know the difference.
Yeah. As far as I understand it anyway, anything with major upgrade systems that happen between runs, so you're not starting from the same point every time.
Yeah.
Makes it a light.
And you were playing this when it was still in early access?
I got Hades the week it was available to the public in any way, shape, or form. I believe it was in pre-alpha.
So
it may have just been an alpha.
That was only where, what's the first area? Tartarus?
Yeah.
So you only had Tartarus? Wait, could you get all the way to Lerny?
You could get all the way through. I was playing the first, I guess, pre-alpha release of the game, not necessarily the first version of it, if that makes sense. So the first version of the full game. So
you weren't there for because they had early access for a year for people too.
Right.
Yeah.
They had the early play tests and all of that stuff. This was the first full build of the game.
Okay.
It was still roughly half the characters didn't have character models or voicing.
Yeah.
So they had this goofy stand-in shrouded figure that would appear anytime you talk to any of these characters, because none of them had 3D models. None of them had finished character art. None of them had any of their voice lines in the game yet.
There's pictures of John Stamos for everyone. Yeah.
It legitimately confused me on my first handful of runs because Charon and Nyx all had the same character model. And I'm like, wait, no, they're not the same person, right?
Yeah, that's interesting that they had the game working and all of that, but the art wasn't ready for some of the characters yet. But
they had a really, really interesting. I'm a giant nerd for Supergiant, but
yes,
their art style for Hades was insanely in depth to the point where they took concept art and folded that into 3D character models instead of building the character models from scratch. I remember watching one of their streams when they were talking about the way they went from original concept to character art to 3D models.
Yeah.
And it was, I can't even remember the name of the method they used, but it was completely different from the way that game studios normally did that.
Yeah, you mentioned Supergiant.
Yeah.
Supergiant is a small team. There's only 20 people that made this game.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And, I mean, the guy who voices Zagreus also did all the fucking music for the game. Like,
oh, Darren Korb?
Darren Korb
Don't even get me started.
Darren Korb is a god, dude.
Darren Korb is legitimately, I think, second or third widest vocal range I've ever heard on a male singer.
Okay. Yeah, because he is also the voice of Orpheus.
Yeah.
The singing voice of Orpheus. He's also the voice of Skelly.
Really?
Yep. Hey, boyo. Yeah, I remember just hearing that. But they're like a small team. They've done Bastion, Transistor, and Pyre.
Yeah.
In that order? Or was Pyre?
Yes.
Okay, in that order.
Pyre came after Transistor.
David, have you played any of those other games at all?
Did not hear about Supergiant until Hades.
Yeah, I played Bastion a little bit, but
Transistor.
I'd never played any of their other games, but I was going to ask you guys at some point on this cast if you guys had, because I would like to play more by them because Hades exceeded all my expectations.
Something that I found out that is extremely interesting about Supergiant. When Xbox Live Arcade originally came out for the 360, they had, what was it, like the XNA? They had a certain framework that was made just for like only Xbox Live Arcade games, like an engine to create them, and it was like a little more simple. And all the games, those first 3 games were all built on that same Xbox Live Arcade engine. Even after the success of the first one, like the later ones, they just made the engine work on more modern systems because they just liked the way that engine works. So Hades was the first time that they had to get a new system going, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah. David, what's your experience with Hades?
Like I said earlier, it's a pretty love-hate relationship with roguelites. Previously, my other experience, like I said, was Binding of Isaac, and that was pretty hit or miss. And so Hades, going into it, I loved the idea of it. I loved the art style. I loved the replayability. And then when it came down to gameplay, I was just like struggling for the first few times until I found my groove. And after, 25, finally beat it. And then again, just was having a rough time, and only beat it a couple more times after that. But, still it keeps me wanting more. It keeps you wanting to try like unique builds and, try different weapons, different boons. And so it's a really unique game that you can kind of just try whatever and see if it'll work. Just explore the world around you as well. I mean, I think that's part of one of my favorite things is just the unique art style and how they made the world around you. It's like you really feel like you're in the underworld and trying to escape.
Yeah. So and I like that it's narrative driven. Mm-hmm. It's a roguelike, and every time you going through Hades, it's different. But it's also the same through line, which is something I really appreciate, the way that they're able to stick the story in that it's just Zagreus getting sent back. Mm-hmm. And just the level of detail with all of the characters, how they interact, how they comment on what's going on, and the way that they have multiple storylines progress. It's really insane how they managed to do this with a game that 4 dungeon areas, a simple number of enemies. There's not a ton, it's so balanced, but there's not a ton of different enemies. There's variations on them. And it's amazing that you could experience most of the worlds and the enemies and a lot of the weapons. You can get a taste of all of them within a couple hours, but also the number of variations with all of them, it's just endless. It's crazy. Tyler, you recently had your love affair with Hades begin.
Yeah, well, it was a perfect game because, like I said, I've been so busy I had 2 weeks where I had all my family members that I could think of pretty much in the state. So my time was pretty divided for the better part of a month. So having a game where you could just jump in and do a couple runs when I had spare time was great. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. And once I started getting better at the gameplay, I really got invested into the story. And I agree with you. I think it's incredible how they were able to like weave in this narrative as you keep getting sent back with the number of characters they have and the number of plot lines that they have running. It kept me wanting to progress the story more so than just get out. Like I found myself pretty psyched every time I died to go back to the underworld and get to go talk to Achilles and Nyx and see who the employee of the month was.
The funniest thing to me about their narrative structure and like the overlapping story arcs is exactly how many of those story arcs actually carry on past the quote unquote true ending of the game.
Oh yeah. Well,
Which I wasn't gonna.
No, we got to mention it. Tyler beat Hades today.
I beat at 2:00 today. I beat Hades on my third attempt at fighting him. I beat him finally
4 hours ago. My first time, I thought I beat Hades. I went into phase 2, and I was already excited and celebrating, and then there was the absolute terror and dread.
Oh yeah, no, that was bad because I got him to the second phase my first time meeting him.
Yeah,
so I was like, did I really just do that in my first try? I thought this was gonna be hard. Shit, Hades, you ain't nothing. And I started talking shit, and then all of a sudden he gets back up, and he's just angrier than ever. And then I was like that Simpsons meme, like I'm in danger.
Well, and then you get outside and you meet your mom.
Yep. And then
you die.
Then I get taken by Styx, and then that's when I realized, okay, because once the game was done, I immediately thought like, well, there's got to be replayability because I haven't unlocked some shit.
You have no idea.
Oh, you are so
and then
far away.
On top of that, then when you told us to grab our stats for this, you sent a message that said your heat, and I'm like, what the fuck is heat? I don't know what this is. I got no heat. So yeah, no, I beat Hades because there's no way I was coming into this podcast with the news that I still hadn't done it yet.
I was so excited for you to come in and say that you didn't realize there'd be a second phase and you died. I was banking on it, but
I stayed up real late last night and drank a whole bunch trying to beat the game, and then got too drunk and was like, nah, it's got to happen in the morning.
So we'll talk a little bit more about endgame stuff, but you've beat Hades once. You said you beat Hades a handful of times.
Yeah. After, I think, about 100 and some odd tries.
Okay.
Only a handful of times.
Okay. I'm guessing you have maxed out all the Olympians and gotten the very good ending.
I have gotten the true ending.
The true ending. Okay.
I can't wait.
They called it.
You're not even close. Don't worry.
Oh,
so far.
yeah, I figured.
All right. So
Legitimately, I'm surprised you beat Hades on the first time or third time getting to him. I think it took me 5 or 6 getting to
The pressure was on.
Hades himself.
it's one of those things too. Sometimes you think you have the most overpowered, amazing build, and you get spanked so hard. And then there's been times I've gone in there, I'm like, I hate this fucking adamant rail, and it goes so fast. It's one of the weapons I do the best with. But
Same.
my experience with Hades, it's kind of like a meth addict or like a coke addict, I think. I have a problem. It was
Just one more. I was so close that time.
Well, I was
one more run.
your former coworker, still kind of coworker, Julian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he texted me a couple days ago and he said, dude, I got Hades. I was like,
Oh, finally.
and I'm like, I'm excited to hear your thoughts. And then I think it was like a day later, he's like, dude, this game is crazy. It's so good. And I'm doing this. And it is addicting. It's so perfectly balanced too, where I'll have 30 minutes in the morning. That's a cup of coffee and a run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's been Saturdays where I have the day off, and I'll just roll out of bed, and I'm like, I'll just play around while Carly's still sleeping. And this is the way it goes in my head every time. Maybe one more, then I'll just do one more run, and then I'm like, I'm just curious what my first boon will be for the next run, so I'll just go in to see, and then I just run to the next room. Like, I just get to the boss, one more run. I just want to see what my next boon's going to be.
Yep.
And you'll be there forever.
But maybe I'll get the hammer first next time.
We are going to take a quick break to hear from some of the other amazing shows from the HyperX Podcast Network. We're going to grab some more drinks. We're going to run back to the home base here, go play some harp in our bedroom. Tyler doesn't know what we're talking about. And
I have so much to learn.
yeah.
Gotta check in with Patroclus, man.
Yeah.
Can we wrap this up so I can go play?
We'll be right back, everyone.
Fight inflation the old-fashioned way, by spending less money. Check out the HyperX store at Amazon.com to find great Prime Day deals on July 12th and 13th. Stock up on new gaming gear so you'll be equipped for the new launches and content drops. Mark your calendars and set your alarms. Deals like this won't stick around long.
Hi, we're Ellen,
Steven, and Mark.
hosts of Nice Games Club, the show where nice game devs talk gaming and game development.
Topics include programming, design, tools, and more.
We also do interviews and 1 hour game jams.
Listen to Nice Games Club wherever you get to your podcast. You get there. Or at nicegames.club.
When it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year, we'll be there for you. I'm Ryan, the line is always a dot to me.
And I'm Mark. How you doing? And we are a podcast of two friends watching Friends. We live in every episode of the TV show Friends in all its glory, delving behind the scenes and discussing all our favourite moments.
Join us as we get reacquainted with some old friends and hopefully make some new ones only on the HyperX Podcast Network.
So we're going to share some stats. Tyler, whatever stats you have, since you don't even have the work office room unlocked, I don't even know the name of it, but...
Records room?
The records room, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm close. I need one more diamond, so I'll get it on my next playthrough.
Hey.
Yeah, I got to beat that Hydra again. My stats, it took me 24 minutes, 36 seconds, or 24 minutes, 24 minutes and 36 seconds to beat the game. That was my fastest run, which is my only run.
Okay. To beat Hades once.
Yep, I have one escape.
Yeah.
In case that was the next stat. It took me 46 attempts,
Okay.
so I beat him on my 46th try,
Nice.
and I've killed 10,252 enemies on my path to the top.
I didn't get that stat for myself.
You got to get the little. There's like a little pool you can
the
get.
pool of reflection.
Yeah,
I just didn't write that one down.
In the updates before they added the records room, that was your only record.
Okay.
Was the pool of reflection. It gave number of runs and number of enemies killed.
Yeah. Yep.
This morning I was only at like 8,000 enemies killed, so I put in work today.
I would be scared to know mine. David, let's hear some of your stats.
All right. So I escaped first at run 25. Total attempts 128. Total escapes 7. Fastest, I'm at 25-ish minutes so far.
Okay.
So I'm getting there. Heat, just said 8. Still don't remember what it is.
8's respectable though.
So
8's not bad. He doesn't even know what that means.
I mean, 8 inherently you have to increase your heat level by 1 every time you beat Hades.
He doesn't know what we're talking about.
So 8, a heat of 8 means he beat him at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's beaten Hades with that weapon 8 times so far.
And then the way the packs of punishment work.
I did one punishment run before we started.
Because you just unlocked it. You have to beat him once, but they're all variations. Did you know Hades has a 3rd stage?
Oh, yeah.
You have to do extremist measures, and it's got... That was the only way I realized I was missing a song still in the house contractor, because I was like, I have everything unlocked except something is missing there, and it's because you can only unlock this song by at least fighting Hades with his 3rd phase. And Cerberus is in there for that fight, and that scared the shit out of me.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's real bad.
And Darren Corb's like, we're going to crank it up to 11 on this one. But was that all the stats that you had?
yeah.
Okay. I
I wish I had known to get body count, but yeah.
I don't have body count.
I just grabbed it because I have no heat. I was like, I got to bring something to the table.
Miles, I'm wondering if I have more attempts than you do.
I don't know. Let's see. Total number of attempts. I took this stat last night, and then I played like 4 more runs today.
Yeah.
But so as including today's runs, I'm at 181 total runs.
Okay, let's hear the rest of your stats then.
I just grabbed photos here. So my first escape was attempt number 22.
Nice.
And as I mentioned before, I was playing this game before the records room updates came out. So most of my stats are redacted in the actual system because at the time the game didn't have the software to actually store that.
Yeah.
So even in the screenshot here, I've got, it has escape number 2. It says I escaped. It's got my time and my weapon, but all other information, all my boons.
They weren't keeping track of it.
All of my total kills. All of that is just redacted in the actual game.
So what's the only thing that's redacted for those that had like the full release after that? It says redacted when you get killed by Hades.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't. Hades doesn't want the people to know that he was out there like stopping you.
Yeah, he doesn't let anyone know that he actually left the underworld at all.
Yep.
So given that
I'm going to the bathroom, boy.
Given that the last realm,
I'm going on a beer run.
up on the River of Styx, up at the surface, is actually outside of the underworld itself. He officially, air quotes, is not allowed to let anyone know that anyone can get out for any reason.
Yeah.
So even when you like talk to Hypnos after Hades himself kills you, he just goes, it doesn't say what killed you this time.
I love it when you die from something stupid. It's like, wow, you died from
The rat gotcha.
He's, the biggest smartass.
Death by rat, huh? Don't
So
worry, I
far,
won't tell anyone.
I've got my best time, ironically enough, was with the Stygian Blade at 26 minutes.
Nice.
I'm a very slow, methodical.
Yeah.
My first victory was with the Adamant Rail. It was 55 minutes.
Wow.
That's a
I am
long time.
very methodical. And when I play...
I'm wondering if that was maybe like a different build of the game when it was...
Also, yes, the Adamant Rail used to be really, really weak.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause 55 minutes seems tough. I couldn't... Yeah. But I imagine you went and sat down your controller, grabbed a beer in one of those rooms or something, made a cocktail.
My highest heat so far was with the Heart-Seeking Bow, and it's 18.
Okay.
My
That's good.
like I said, total runs about 180. Total victories, again, hard to pull because of the weird way that they used to store and not store.
Yeah.
On the books, I've got I did the math on this. Hang on. 131 runs.
Okay.
So it's missing roughly 30% of my runs.
Yep.
And I've got 79 total escapes.
Okay.
Holy balls, that's a lot.
And that's just like broken down by they just literally give you a printout of like all the weapons you've escaped with. So you've got how many times you tried with that weapon and how many times you've escaped.
And the green is the fastest or the most.
Yeah. So that's my best time overall, and then the best time with each weapon and the highest heat with each weapon because they store the packs of punishment separately.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to sound like I don't have a life. Okay. So I've played this on the Xbox and the Switch because I wanted to get a Switch version to take it mobile. Mm-hmm. So my first escape on the Xbox was my 33rd attempt. So what was yours?
46.
Okay. So, but you guys escaped faster than me, you two.
Yeah, you made me look like a fool.
I'm still impressed you killed Hades in 3 tries. Like I said, it took me 5 or 6 times he killed me.
Yeah. I had my head on him for a while. But first escape, 33rd attempt with Adamant Rail. On the Switch, I got him on my 6th attempt. Wow, which nice. I think that's just speaks to how much, once you understand enemy movement and patterns, it makes a big difference because I had almost nothing unlocked in the Mirror of Fate at that point. But total attempts, adding in the 3 from last night and today, altogether 241.
Wow.
Nice.
Yep. 193 on the Xbox and 48 on the Switch. Total escapes, I have 115.
Damn.
Wow. 86 on the Xbox and 29 on the Switch. My highest heat's only 16, although on a heat of 32, I got to Hades once because I really wanted to unlock the third Skelly statue.
Oh, yeah.
But I couldn't beat Hades when he was moving that fast. But
see, I always forget that you can just jump ahead like that. I've always done the heat levels in order.
The only perk for skipping is strictly Skelly statues.
Yeah.
Unless you also want to unlock those other Erebus rooms, which there's no super big benefit to it. You're likely just going to take onions out of there. Tyler's like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
What are these onions?
I mean, yeah, especially at that level of heat, dude. I can barely clear like a 15 heat.
And my fastest escape was on the Switch, 16 minutes and 40 seconds with the Twin Fists.
Nice.
Wow.
And that's with the Pact of Punishment, where I cranked up the time limit to 5 minutes for each section.
Oh.
And I also ran out of time. 60 minutes and 40 seconds, but I ran out of time. So that was my best time. But if they give you 5 for each section, that sounds, I guess, it sounds weird to me because I ran out of time at some point.
Right.
And you just start losing life,
Yeah, just
which I
drains
didn't.
your
I had
health.
never lost all of it. It starts draining your health. I lost an entire Death Defiance on that. So before we get into the Gush Fest again, I want to just mention a few important dates for people, a few numbers and things. This game was released September 17th, 2020 for the Mac, Windows, and Switch. That is a misleading number, though, because early access was available for about a year before then. This came to the PS4, 5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X August 13th of 2021. Like we mentioned, developed and published by Supergiant Games out of San Francisco. Small team of about 20 employees. Amir Rao and Gavin Simon are both co-founders and designers still. Greg Kasavin is the writer and designer, voice of Hypnos. Gen Z, she does all of the art, which is all stupendous. And we already mentioned Darren Korb is allowed to drink every beer that we own.
Oh my God, yes. Darren Korb is. I could gush for a really long time about the soundtracks in these games.
Okay, now is a good time. Yeah, so Darren Korb, he's done the music for all the games, I want to say.
Oh, yeah.
For this game, he just laid down some temp tracks for Hades and Skelly, like some temp voice tracks, and they auditioned other people, and they said, you should probably just do it. I love that so much. And then, so they were still developing this game when COVID hit. They were still working on more of it. And there's great no-clip documentaries on YouTube. You can see them. They just show a video of him. He's like, this is my... He has 2 like pallets outside of his house. Like, this is a sound booth for my house now because I have to record music and stuff here. So and it shows him like 3 days later. Like, I figured it out. But yeah, it's great. So Darren Korb, you're a big fan.
Huge fan. Darren Korb and the female voicing and music, Ashley Barrett. Legitimately 2 of the best vocalists I've heard in my life. They
Is she Eurydice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, she's good.
Yeah.
She's also...
when I go in there, she's like, hey, sugar. I'm like,
No, you.
oh.
hello.
I'm trying not to be nervous right now.
She is also... in their earlier game, Transistor, she is the non-voice and singing voice of the main character, Red. Actually, in 2020, they went back and they re-recorded a lot of their songs. They put out a new album called The Songs of Supergiant Games.
And I don't have it on vinyl, and it hurts me. Yeah.
But they went back and they re-recorded with like orchestral backing the most popular songs from each of their games. And Darren actually rewrote some of the parts so that the solo tracks also included duet parts for the 2 of them. And the way that the 2 of them harmonize in their duets and just her very perfect pitch levels and like it makes you feel like you're sitting in the coolest jazz lounge you've ever been to.
Yeah.
It's legitimately probably the best pure vocal I've ever heard.
It was amazing watching him work in those YouTube or no clip documentaries, I should say. They're on YouTube, but it's just a dude. He just sits down at his computer with a guitar and he just starts playing music. It's just like he's like, I got a new thing in my head, and he's just like, bang, 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 bang. And then through the amount of like production and like the work he does to the music through the computer, and he plays the finished product, Hades goes hard.
Yeah, it does.
These songs get so stuck in my head, and I don't want to say it's part of the addiction. It's just like I can hear the rhythm and the driving melodies, and I just have to get in there.
The combat music is just perfect.
Ugh.
And it's timed so well, too. It's not like, I mean, when the battle starts, it hits and it doesn't have to crescendo. You're already like, it's like the entire soundtrack to a battle is just one large climax.
Yeah, it's just
of a song
fever-pitched
over and over and
constantly.
over. And then whenever you clear a chamber or whatever and move on, it resolves so quickly. Like,
You just get that instant little bell ping and it just drops right down.
how they were able to, like, with a game that's so variable and how long you're going to take in a chamber and just to execute that blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, that's music production and composition for video games is a field in its own. Because, I mean, you do have to have variables. I remember watching a documentary from Marty O'Donnell talking about Halo. It's like, well, when you get to this area of the level or you get through this enemy, you just get like extra little drums start fading in. And just to have the music like naturally complement gameplay, Hades fucking nails it. What is accomplished by such a small team blows my mind for this game. This one Game of the Year, I'm not a big fan of like it won awards, but the fact that a team of 20 people beat out major big games is insane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. I mean, arguably one of my favorite games I've ever played. I cannot stress enough how much this blew away my expectations.
I already had beaten this game on the Xbox, and then on Game Pass, and then I went and bought it. It's so good. It's one of those weird situations where I've already beaten a game, but I go buy it anyways.
Right. This is one of those ones I went and I signed up for an Epic account and bought or downloaded the Epic Games launcher.
Yeah.
Because it launched on early access earlier on Epic.
Which I want to talk about that because they knew for this game they wanted to do so much fine-tuning, balancing that early access, this is the first time they did it for one of their games.
Yeah.
And 99% of the time I hear, "Oh, play the game before it's done." Leaves a really bad feeling in my mouth. Like I'm not gonna play test your broken fucking game. Is the way I mean that's what you think of when you hear that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they took a weird approach here, and they said only one platform could be like a viable. They couldn't do it on multiple platforms if they're going to be doing this play testing. Epic Game Stores. A Game Store was an experimental new platform and a perfect fit. So that's why they ended up choosing Epic. And I'm pumped that you played it in early access. So you what were some of the other things you saw like evolving outside of like the character designs and
Well, they, like I said before, they didn't have finalized character art for a lot of them. They were doing this update schedule for a while where usually about once a month they would update one character each month. And so every update would be the blank or such and such update.
yes.
Like one was for Chiron, and they added all of his character art. Exactly. They added, ironically enough, all of his voice lines.
Fun to note, he has the lowest number of voice lines out of everyone. I found that out.
What about the Fury, the murder girl?
Yeah.
Tiffany has more. She is the second least.
Tiffany is the second.
Murder. Good job. Is that a new word? It's like, I love the Fury sisters. Well, and then I was in the midst of Hades when we talked about God of War 2018. And I was doing all this research of God of War stuff, and he fought the Fury sisters. And I was just going back and like I'm like, that's not what Tiffany says. She says murder.
I'm fairly certain that story did not end the same way that Zagreus and Megara did.
David, we have another delicious beer we're going to be having here. What else did you bring for us?
This is the Dragon's Milk Reserve Stroopwafel edition.
Stroopwafel.
Oh my.
So I saw this, love Stroopwafels, had to have it.
What's a Stroopwafel?
So it's like a thinly pressed waffle cracker cookie with caramel inside. So it's caramel pressed between two thin, like grilled or pressed waffles. And then it could be dipped in chocolate, sprinkles. So
It's meant for coffee and tea.
Yep.
It's an old German cookie.
Yeah.
The idea was you would take the cookie and place it on top of your hot cup of coffee.
Yes.
And it would warm up the caramel inside.
I wish that was something we did here in America.
Oh, you can get them.
You can do it.
I got a box of stroopwafels in my cabinet at home.
I wish it was as common as being offended by someone's politics, you know?
Like, why don't we just not with the politics and do it with the cookies?
Every time someone mentions politics, like, it needs to be like a stroopwafel break. Like that's a stroopwafel. Yeah. Early access is cool. So I also, I love this fact. Early concepts of the game. The name was going to be called Minos, and the main character would be Theseus. And he's seeking an exit from the ever-shifting maze.
Oh, yeah.
Makes sense for a roguelike. I can understand that being a thing, but they found ever-branching narrative factors hard to create. And they said also Theseus was a boring character, which I imagine all of their hatred for Theseus was channeled so hard into what Theseus got in the game.
Directly into his character design.
Literally everyone's like, Theseus sucks, right? Oh, I love it so much.
Ironically enough, that's also the only reason he's the only other character in the game that can use God's boons.
Yeah, he does.
Because he was the original main character.
And he won't, if you have like Demeter, he won't be able to use Demeter.
Yeah, he only uses gods that haven't granted you.
I like that. All right, let's drink some stroopwafel beer here, folks. Sure. Thanks for bringing these beers, David.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I like that you get a sweetness on the nose, but it's a little more boozy when you drink it.
It's the barrel age for sure.
I like that.
I like that it's warmed up a little bit too.
Yeah.
You need to.
It's more chocolate than I was expecting.
Same. I was hoping for a little more caramel. They had a really good salted caramel stout that they released in the winter time last year.
Although I'm fairly certain I've had the regular dragon's milk.
Oh, regular Dragon's Milk's been around when I turned like 21. That was one of the first craft beers I had.
This is a light 11%.
Yeah, just
Super
a little
light.
bit.
Yeah. Just like
Nice for a hot day.
Pilsner, you know?
Yeah, just a little bit of dragon's milk will get you.
So, originally it was Theseus. Instead, Theseus became the joke.
Thank God that didn't pan out.
Oh, yeah.
One thing that they do really cool with the narrative stuff, too, is eventually Zagreus starts making comments you make that are, like, aware of the game. Like, before he goes into a room, he'll say, like, I bet it's going to be Electo. And he's like, nope.
Oh, yeah. He'll take random guesses as to which Fury sister you're going to fight. He'll start commenting on Lerny.
Well, you don't even know who Lerny is yet, do you?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Because it's just the Lernian bone hydra. And eventually he's like, I'm tired of calling you the bone hydra. Can I call you Lerny? And then the name changes to Lerny up on the thing.
The actual boss title.
And I remember one comment he makes where he just like picks up coins and he goes, I'm rich. And he does it like sarcastically like he's poor and he hates himself. I'm like, that's something I say.
Well, I was playing and I was in sticks and I was killing rats and they were dropping coins. And I had the thought, like, that's weird that rats carry around coins. Because I always think about stuff like that when I'm playing a game. Like, why would a rat care about coins unless they ate them? And then in my playthrough today, he said verbatim, I don't know why these vermin all carry coins. And I was like, get out of my head, Zag.
And the writing is very sharp and funny. You don't see this in a lot of games because I feel like wit and subtlety gets lost in having so many people involved in a video game. The fact that it's a team of 20 people with only a few people writing like the script and the dialogue really preserves a sense of identity. It's so good. I was looking through the awards and I'm like, oh, random game convention, random game thing, whatever. And then I saw Hugo Awards, which I know is like just the science fiction fantasy book awards. And they won like best video game. And I said, that's fucking cool. I didn't even know that like the sci-fi book convention had video games, but they acknowledged it. But the reason that made me think of that, the first time he goes in to fight Asterius and Theseus, and he goes, Asterius, other guy.
Yeah.
Even like Theseus tries to talk shit with Asterius about, he's like, I think he's cool. I just, their banter between those two is great. And if you don't know, you have a fan in that arena, Did you know that there's a little fan in there?
Oh yeah.
You get one.
There's one.
Eventually.
There's one fan. It's one shade. All of them have Theseus banners, and there's one with a little Zagreus banner.
Yeah, and he's like, I got a fan.
Yeah.
I was even doing those 5-minute timed runs, and I'm like, I'm fucking taking a moment.
Oh, you can walk over to him every time, and Zag will comment on the one fan that you have.
I gotta do that more.
Well, you have to, because he's your little fan. I was like,
Yeah, gotta take care of him.
yeah.
He's off to the the top left of the arena.
I saw him when Zag pointed him out. Otherwise, I probably would have missed him.
Yeah, he's tiny. It's
Yeah.
one shade on an entire bleacher full of Theseus and Asterius
but
fans.
it means a lot. He's tiny, but he's also very big.
Hey,
in
and
my
he
heart.
shows up every time.
He's there.
Yeah, he's a ride or die.
You're a guy, homie. The story you play is Zagreus, the son of Hades, as he attempts to escape from the underworld to reach Mount Olympus because his mom is up there. He wants to go see his mom. And we mentioned the roguelike nature of the story. Every run can have a different advancing of the story. But the story doesn't end the first time you beat Hades because you run into your mom, Persephone, and she didn't even know you were alive, which is a thing to you. But you have to keep running up there, and you just slowly progress the story until after 10 times something else will happen. But
You're essentially fighting and semi-killing your way through the entire underworld, every layer of the underworld, to reach the surface, visit your mom for 15 minutes, and then die painfully.
Well, when I made it, 'cause I made it to her for the first time today, but you have one of those little menu or cards that flashes and says sometimes past or whatever, and then
those get way better.
My first thought was, since he's immortal and he's had several conversations with other characters on how time works in the underworld, where they kind of lose sense of how long they've been here or whatever.
They don't know what time it is. There's no
day
sun
or
down
night.
there. Yeah,
I interpreted it as he spent a couple days or months with his mom, and it felt super quick because he's immortal and time doesn't really mean anything to him.
Once you get out there a few more times, you realize that he goes up and says 10 sentences and falls apart.
Yeah. It becomes painfully obvious that almost every time you're going up there, you're getting less and less time to exist on the surface world.
Oh, damn.
And it'll explain why later on, but it gets borderline emotionally devastating that you're fighting, killing your way up to see your ma for
It's the chorus of human emotions. It's a child whose parents got a divorce, and the classic mom thinks you're dead, and your dad is the god of the underworld. That old chestnut. But,
you know how it goes.
Zagreus is disobeying his father so hard, and you find out, his dad's just trying to protect her from the Olympians.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know. I was really hoping Zagreus would get a comeuppance. Instead, he just gets rewarded in the end. I felt like his petulance should have had more of a negative result in the end, but no.
Well, there was a semi-explanation for a lot of that, because especially later on, and I don't want to say what the true ending is, but even after the true ending, they use more and more, and as you fight your way through more and more, they use heavily coded language, implying that everyone involved, and even Hades himself, knows exactly what you're doing and actually actively supported it. Persephone had to leave. She was forced to leave, essentially. He didn't want her to go. That was his wife. He was in love with her, but he's the big badass boss of the underworld. He's not allowed to let people know that he can be weak or he can let people out.
He's not crying.
Right, exactly. He's got that whole tough front, nobody's allowed to leave because I said so, but he desperately wants you to leave to bring his wife back to him so he can see her again. So he, especially the further and further on you get, it's a story of a man who's doing his job by pretending he doesn't want you to do what he's secretly letting you do.
Yeah. And you only can ever pet one of Cerberus's heads, and that bothers me too. I would spend all day making sure they all had the equal number of pets.
Right.
Well, you pet one, you got to pet the others.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. So you have to beat Hades 10 times, and then you can start your quest for the true ending. And then after that, they kind of do this thing where, oh, you're still here. You can now go into this room and just buy badges.
Yeah.
They look cool. They look cool, though.
Well, most pointedly because it becomes official after the true ending. I don't know how much of this I'm avoiding.
I think as long as we don't spoil the main ending stuff.
All right, sure. Well,
I
outside
would appreciate that.
Yeah, because
outside of that, it becomes essentially your official job.
yes,
Hades comes to you and he appoints you security consultant, security.
Your job is to escape, so I can make this place harder to escape, sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. It's a nice cover for
Evaluation.
everything.
It's like the Stallone and Schwarzenegger movie that came out in like 2014.
Exactly.
Exactly like that.
He appoints you the official security evaluator of the underworld, and so every time you're fighting your way out, you're testing the weaknesses so he can close them up.
So the House of Hades, that's your little home. That's the main base. There you can speak with various characters, purchase, upgrade, or change talents at the Mirror of Night. The Mirror of Night, a lot of great little perks. If you're just starting this game, you're going to want to get as much darkness as you can and buy some Death Defiances. That's my first recommendation to everybody. And then also just the little things. All those little perks add up, but max that shit out, and then your darkness will become largely useless unless you're exchanging for other materials for the house contractor. But
and the
health.
the badges later on.
yeah, fuck those
You need
badges.
so much. Goddamn, my total darkness is like 82,000,
You're not even close, I'm sure.
and I still don't even have that many badges. It's ridiculous.
I'm like
I haven't even
5,600.
Yeah.
I haven't even maxed the last Mirror of Night talent.
Yeah.
The last level of the Fated Persuasion, the Mirror of Night alternate talent, costs 4,000.
Is that the one where you get legendary or duo boons?
No, it's the one after that.
One
The
after.
Fated Persuasion allows you to re-roll
Oh,
boons
yeah.
that are offered.
Also, I didn't know this until way too far into the game, that the Mirror of Night also has like reverse versions.
Yeah, the alternates.
I didn't fucking know that. I was so confused.
I was going to say, I've been using the alternate Death Defiance, the Stubborn Defiance.
What is that?
I don't
'Cause
like Stubborn Defiance.
Oh, I love it.
I-
I'm so reckless.
Okay.
What is Stubborn Defiance? Because I saw that and I was like, I die way too much for that.
The regular Death Defiance, if it's maxed out upgrades, you get 3 extra lives, essentially.
Yeah, that's what I
Brings you
got.
back with half your health. Stubborn Defiance lets you come back to life once per room with 35% of your health instead of half.
See, but I rarely die, and it's only at Hades that I need more than one Death Defiance.
Oh, I know, but I abuse the hell out of Athena and Demeter.
Okay.
So I almost always get the when you have no defiance left, your health regenerates.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So if you're playing that
sounds
with
nice.
Stubborn Defiance,
I haven't tried that.
You can just die on purpose, dodge around while you heal to full, and then next chamber you get your Defiance back.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
And you can still get the extra Defiances from other sources. Things like Chaos has some boons that can give you extra Defiance.
Yep.
The Well of Chiron and
Athena has some that will replenish a use, I want to say. Or Ares.
those replenish uses, but they don't give you extra uses.
Okay.
So her boons will replenish one if you're playing with regular Defiance and you've lost one.
Yeah.
But if you're playing with Stubborn Defiance, it doesn't stack on top of it.
Okay.
Only the Chaos boon and the I want to say there's
there's also the tooth that adds one as well.
yeah Skelly's tooth. But
Yeah.
I don't bother with that one.
Yeah, that brings you back at like 75, I think.
If you upgrade it,
Because I got it up to
all
like
the
the
way up.
3-star, yeah.
Yeah.
In the House of Hades, you can also see the house contractor. You can spend your gems early on. This is good. You actually will add rooms and those chests into the dungeons. Eventually, though, you are buying paintings and statues. Still cool.
Don't discount it. I've got Aphrodite up next to my bed.
I got Thanatos.
I got nothing.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
I assume you already
Yes.
have brought meaning to his painting.
You can have love interest in this game.
I don't know if can have.
Dusa wouldn't fuck me. Just because she's a floating Gorgon head. No. yes, Meg and Thanatos are both ones that will spend time with you in your bedroom with the lights off. You might just be
multiple times
having a pillow fight. We don't know. Those sounds could mean a lot of things.
The third visit with Meg, you definitely
Well, you can take both of them in the bedroom at the same time too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's an aspect of this game I didn't know I needed now.
I love it when you try and hit on Dusa, and you're like, "I like you. We should get together." And she's like, "No."
Well, they do that intentionally. The whole like the Greek origins having the 7 different forms of love.
Yeah.
The point of the semi-romance options in the game is that each one of your quote-unquote love interests is one of those forms of love.
Yeah.
So Dusa is your platonic, your friendship love.
And she'll even say that, like, I'm super flattered, Prince. I'm not interested. Good for you, Dusa, you know.
Oh, they get there, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
She openly tells you that she loves you, but they both recognize that it's a different kind of love.
Yes.
They're not romantically or sexually interested in each other. They love each other as...
Zagreus makes a capacitor, though.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But also that's part of his, I guess, coming of age.
Like an F-buddy.
His growth and learning is that he doesn't understand those kinds of love yet.
Yeah. Zagreus starts off as a shithead, for sure.
Oh, he does.
I like it when the story is really handled well in this game. There's only like a couple of scenes, and you have to go to the bed to like activate a scene where it says earlier, before. And it's just you being late for work.
Yeah.
And it's like even more earlier. And it's you being bad at work. And I feel personally attacked. Yeah. But otherwise, the story is Zeus is like, hey, little Hades, our little Zagreus, why aren't you escaping? And you get a lot of story just through dialogue. And it's brilliant how much character is conveyed without animation.
They do such a good job. I don't skip any of the dialogue. I let the voice actors just run it through every time, and they are so good. Like, just one little 3-sentence line conveys so much.
Like Dionysus just going, Zag, man. Immediately makes me feel... Dionysus is my favorite.
By far.
Not my favorite as far as boons go, but like his voice actor just
I love his boons. What?
Okay, let's talk boons.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
Let's start with Dionysus. I like that concept of hangovers as an attack.
Well, it didn't used to be Hangover, too.
What was it?
In the early stages, it was
Hangover 1?
No, it was Poison. Before they changed it over. There was no...
Is there a real difference between a hangover and a poison?
Not really. There was just no like alluding. There was no. As far as I'm aware, they changed it to better fit the character.
Sure.
Which makes sense. But in the original one, it was just stacks of poison, and that felt very bland, very generic. Just like yes, it's a poison effect, but
it's way more exciting to have Dionysus be throwing bombs, like Jaeger bombs at people. If a festive party said Jaeger bomb instead, that'd make me happy. But do you like Dionysus, David?
I think like you said, the character's fun and the voice actor is really good, but the effects from his boons are not great.
I mean, I like it when he mixed with Demeter for ice wine. There's a few good options.
His mix with Aphrodite is pretty cool. With the charm, and it's one of the first duos it might be a way to introduce duos to the game.
Yeah.
Well, their duo is extra stacks, right?
Yeah, you can stack charm and hangover.
Well, the weak afflicted enemies can have 8 stacks of hangover instead of 5.
Yeah.
Is one of the earlier.
Yeah, so if you stack one on an attack and one on a special, you can, like with the bow, I would just shoot
Aspect
everybody and give them hangover and then
hell yeah.
just mow them down with triangle after that.
My favorite boon. If I had to choose like a favorite person to run with, my instinct goes to Athena or Poseidon, depending on the weapon I have. See, it's all weapon based. I like Aphrodite a lot. Artemis is really great. Zeus, I don't love.
Zeus's cast is really cool.
The one where it bounces between, that one's great.
That's his best one.
And there are some where like random lightning bolts will fall when you do other attacks.
Yeah.
That's great, but
My favorite from Zeus is the passive, because he's got two versions of his dash. One which is the actual dash.
I didn't know there's two versions of his dash.
So his dash boon, which actually takes the dash slot, is just whenever you dash, it drops a lightning bolt.
That one's
on an enemy.
You don't like that one?
It's not my favorite only because of the other version.
Okay.
The other version acts as a generic passive, and it drops a lightning bolt on a nearby enemy when you achieve a near miss.
Okay.
So anytime you dash either just past a projectile or just past an attacking enemy, it drops a lightning bolt on them. It does more damage than his normal dash.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take up your dash slot. So it frees that up for other things.
Poseidon is either the best or the worst, depending on what weapon I have. Those pushback effects are fun.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're not using a ranged weapon, he's super solid.
Yep.
Well, and those pushback things,
range?
like let's say I'm using something like the spear or the sword. I want them to be close to me so I can combo them. But if every time you hit them they fly away, that's immediately useless. But with spear, if you get it on your special attack on the Spear of Varatha, and you can just keep knocking them away, that's great. But Poseidon has specific uses, but also like when you get to the Temple of the Styx, those rooms are so small. If you have when pushing back an enemy, they hit a wall, it causes like a water explosion.
Tidal surge, yeah.
You will destroy things fast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And also Poseidon, once you get to the point where you're just trying to buy badges, you want more darkness and gems and all that. And one of his boons is increases how many of those items you get in your currency. One of his boons is increase how much gems and darkness are worth. So you get that early on, and it'll increase how much you get, so you can save up to buy your badges faster.
See, for those, I prefer Chaos anyway.
Chaos is good too. Well,
your numbers stack.
You do
so
Poseidon and Chaos is what you do, and then you also use whatever weapon is best for that. Athena's got dash. I know people consider dashing with Athena godlike because you can just dash into all attacks and just shoot them back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Who else we got?
I think Athena's dash is my number one successful escape boon.
The deflect?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's her protective dash, which just lets you deflect everything on your dash.
Yeah.
Is insane. And it's insanely helpful in the sticks as well when you're fighting all the small vermin, because their health pool is so tiny. You just dash through them and kill whole waves.
I used that, and I used her deflect on my special attack on the sword, because you slam it into the ground, it creates that little dome.
Yeah.
So her dash plus deflect on the dash and the special with the sword was super OP for me. I loved that.
I like her dash, and I like her cast. I don't love putting her stuff on like attacks or specials.
I like her call, where you just turn into impervious attack circle, and you can just go sit on Theseus like fuck you.
See, her call's all right, but if that's what you're going for the impervious, I prefer Ares.
Yeah, Ares might be one of my least favorite. I don't like Doom. Doom is not a great boon to me.
Oh, it's so good though.
So good for bosses. If you get the stacked ones.
Oh yeah. I discovered that last night. Was like, let's go.
He's got, especially like I play a lot with the Heart-Seeking Bow. If you're playing Aspect of Chiron, where
which is the best one, my favorite.
I started playing with Rama, the Shared Suffering. Holy,
that's what speedrunners use, I think, to get the best times. But
it's insane.
Yeah,
but Aspect of Chiron's the one I've had the most fun with. Yeah, because the Seeking special, you can get either Dionysus on that, and you're just full stacking Hangover in a single shot.
Yeah, it's like taking 5 shots at the bar.
Or
and then they give you a shot of Fernet on the way out. And you're like,
yeah, that's never happened. Or you can, if you get the Doom special and the additional passive where multiple instances of Doom can stack on each other.
Yeah.
Then you're applying 8 stacks of Doom at the same time. that will trigger at the same time and cause
It'll turn into a rock movie.
Yeah.
You just get all of that successive damage at one time.
Yeah.
Which just shreds through bosses.
I initially hated Artemis, and then I got stuck trying to farm a legendary boon, and I wound up loving Artemis. You have a smaller addition to your attack, but then you also get more chance of critical hits, like 20%, and it goes up pretty high.
Oh, yeah.
And that shit will stack hard.
Yeah, and you can get the marked one too, where if you attack an enemy, a nearby enemy will be marked, and they have like the little green target on them, and then they have an increased chance for critical.
It blows my mind that those stack on each other.
Really? I didn't realize they did.
So you crit one enemy, another enemy gets marked, which has the 30 to 40% increased chance of critical.
Yeah.
If you crit the marked enemy, it marks another enemy.
Oh, wow.
And you can just keep dancing in a circle as long as you've got a big enough crowd around you.
I did not realize that.
I mean, you'll be discovering stuff 150 attempts later.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, right.
That's actually one of my favorite duo boons is Artemis and Dionysus. They have a duo boon where you get a 1.5% increased crit chance for every stack of hangover on an enemy.
Oh, geez. And with the bow where you can fire 4 at once. Yeah.
Exactly. So if you stack that and you stack the other, the increased stacks duo boon, which I mean, I know stacking duos is like insanely meta rare crap, but you're talking 8 stacks of hangover on somebody at 1.5%.
I was 23 years old once and that happened. Shit was real. I got kicked out of the same bar twice.
I mean, you're looking at a base level 12% crit chance on any enemy you hit with any attack.
I do love it when you just get to Hades and spank them hard. I was looking up some of the rarest dialogue in the game, and if you get to Hades without a single boon, which is tough, you also have to sell everything and then just be lucky to get your satyr sack without having to get a boon. But he'll make comments about, it's like, no Olympians showed up with you today? Like, what's going on? He's like, I bet you just wanted coin. You suck.
There's a keepsake you can get that'll help you with that.
If you're attacking without a boon, plus 50%.
That's Sisyphus.
Yeah, Sisyphus is keepsake.
Who is one of my homies? Not as much as Boldy.
Oh my god.
But
Sisyphus takes no shit too.
David, what's some of your favorite boons?
Oh gosh, I like some of the Athena ones, especially if I'm playing with shield. That's fun. You just dash in and just obliterate people. Shield bash. What else? Gosh, I haven't played in a minute, so I'd like looking stuff up. Like you said with the bow and Athena and Dionysus work really well. What else? And I think, to your point, like you said, Poseidon and Spear work really well for me. But, as specific boons go, like I try and just throw caution to the wind sometimes and see if something just works.
Yeah. So just try and build an anti-build and see if something sticks.
So I don't have like much in the way of specifics, unfortunately.
We haven't talked about Demeter yet, and I absolutely love Demeter. Getting chill, and if you stack 10 chills and then they explode, and then also if you take damage, they get fully chilled. Just the number of chill effects. Plus, she is my grandma, so I like her.
And her cast is insane too, with the crystals that shoot the laser beam.
Oh yeah.
Those
are great for bosses.
They also tastefully dance around the fact that some of your family has fucked each other. They don't really mention that in the game. You gotta love Greek mythology.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Just don't mention that part.
They just stopped talking about it. They had 8 stacks of hangover.
If Zeus turns into a goat, I think everybody should be scared.
Yeah. Zeus is like, is that a goat?
You guys seeing that swan out there?
No, Zeus is the swan.
He is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he's also a goat though, right?
No, but the lady's like, look at that goat.
Yeah.
And then there's Hermes. We didn't mention Hermes. Hermes operates in a different way. You literally cannot get 3 Hermes boons unless you get 2 and then buy one from a Charon shop. They will not allow you to get 3 Hermes boons otherwise.
Well, because they exist in a separate category in terms of buffs.
Correct.
They exist in the same category as like the hammers.
Yep, he doesn't have a call. He doesn't have a lot like an attack or anything, but there is what is it? The Hermes keepsake, where the faster you are, the stronger you are.
Oh yeah.
Or what does it work?
Every time you clear an encounter
Fast.
quote unquote quickly, it just gives you a little countdown. It gives you permanent move speed and dodge chance.
You can get so fast.
So fast.
And then there's
and
one,
then almost nothing can hit you.
There's like one boon where the faster you are, the stronger you are too.
Yeah, it's one of his. It gives stacking percentage damage buffs based on your bonus move speed.
And commenting on the level of care and weirdness to the dialogue, if you go into the menu and you turn on the timer just to like monitor your own time, Hermes will make a comment. He's like, "Oh, cool! I time myself too." It's the level of care and detail that go into that is so great. I found out this has never happened to me. If you die by Asterius enough, eventually Hypnos mentions he's a really big fan, and he asks you to get an autograph.
Yeah, he asked me.
Oh yeah,
that's never happened to me. And Asterius like, yeah, I can give you an autograph, but that's for you, not like I'm doing it for you, not for him.
Oh, I didn't get the autograph. He did ask me, and Zag was like, "Yeah, I'll get right on that."
Yeah.
There's some other like really weird niche stuff you have to do, like what was it? Poseidon mentions that he's a fan of the advanced technology that Theseus can use.
Yeah.
So you have to fight Extreme Measures Theseus, where he gets.
I like that Tyler hasn't seen this.
Oh
yet.
yeah. So the Extreme Measures Theseus, Asterius gets armor. Like he's just harder to fight. His axe gets bigger. He does more damage. The freaking Theseus gets a chariot.
A golden chariot.
God.
A golden chariot with a self-propellant system, which is basically just a motor.
Fuck right off.
Two chain guns.
No.
And a rocket launcher.
Don't like that at all.
But also he gets a mask, and Achilles says, I talked to Daedalus, and he made that mask knowing how stupid it looked and knowing Theseus would love it. Just everyone dunking on Theseus all the time. I love it.
He also comments on how he needs all that advanced technology to be able to beat you.
We should probably mention some of these weapons that exist here. You start off with the Stygian blade. Mm-hmm. Don't love it.
I think it's super solid.
Yeah,
I think
it's a good basic starter weapon.
Yeah, if you get the chain attack where you can just hold down square.
That's good with any weapon.
Yeah.
That's good with the bow and arrow. That's good with the spear. I don't think
I hate it on the bow. The
the
auto fire.
I love it. Yeah. I got like the perfect thing because I got a duo stack of two things on like my attack button. Mm-hmm. So I was just doing duo attacks like crazy. Plus I had increased speed. And I didn't want to. I didn't want to like my attack. I wanted to go in there and shoot the attack once and then just special because I was using Chiron.
Right.
So one of those things where I was going to make a specific build and something else became way more viable than what I was going for. Which is cool.
That's fair.
Yeah, Stygian's good. I mean, anything that you get the just hold attack, turn my brain off for a little bit.
Yeah, no, and if you can get like I said before, the deflect on the special attack, then like the witches, like there's that one chamber where you have like 5 witches.
That's like a witch orgy in there, and they all have shields.
And the entire screen is just purple orbs.
Yeah.
I just stood in the corner and spammed triangle, didn't take any damage, and then won. I was like, okay, that was easy.
I used to have a lot of trouble with that room.
It's very tricky if you have no deflect.
Yeah. Try and dash around and just get destroyed. Have you started unlocking aspects for your weapons? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. I'm using the one that you were talking about with the bow, where the special locks on.
Oh, Chiron, yeah.
And then for the shield, because the shield was the other weapon I used the most, the Heart-Seeking Bow and the shield. The shield I got where after you bull rush, you can throw multiple shields.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Chaos. Yeah, that one's really good.
Eventually you unlock like the ultimate, I don't want to say the ultimate form because I don't think that the ultimate form is necessarily the best form.
It's the more advanced form.
But the aspect of Arthur is the final one of Stygius, and that is you have Holy Excalibur, the actual Holy Excalibur, 50 plus health, damage reduction in your aura. So you use a special attack, and it makes a giant aura on the field. And then when you're in the aura, it slows enemy projectiles, disables the floor, and it will trap, and it disables floor and wall traps in the aura. That doesn't say that on the thing, but if you put the aura down and you stand next to traps, they won't trigger on you.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah. The aura is pretty cool. And also, Excalibur's a slow, big fucking blade, which is nice. Like a great sword.
So slow. It's also got its own hammer traits.
Yeah.
There's a couple of Excalibur-specific traits that you can get on the Daedalus hammer that basically buff the aura field.
Fuck, Daedalus hammers. If we wanted to, we could go and do a lot. I will say every single Daedalus hammer. So the Daedalus hammer, if you haven't played the game and you're listening, you're stupid. It's been on sale many times. Go play it. It's probably still on Game Pass.
Buy it at full price. They deserve it.
They deserve it.
I bought it at full price twice.
But if you give me a Daedalus hammer that says your dash upper does this, there's a 98% chance I will not do it. I don't dash upper. I don't even mean to. I'm not. That's just not the way I play. I don't know. I'm anything with attack or special, I will be definitely taking advantage of. But yeah, dash uppers, I'm not really good with. Call me crazy.
Oh, I dash attack constantly.
I get maybe I'm doing it and I don't even realize it.
You probably are, honestly. It's a slightly different moveset for most of the weapons. But
Yeah, some of them are more pronounced than others. And then there's charge attacks. Also, I don't do a lot of that, which I think I'm missing out on a big aspect there because they're good for like AoE attacks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the bow's charged attack will take out the majority of shit in one hit.
Oh, yeah.
9 times out of 10 for like at least the first 2 levels. If you,
that's why I hate
The power shot?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I hate the auto fire on the bow. I spec so hard into power shots and crits.
I feel like I haven't even played this game.
It's fantastic for bosses. Like I think I was using a very Artemis heavy build with the aspect of Rama on the bow, the shared suffering one.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the shared suffering not only allows you to damage every enemy that's been marked with a single attack, it also counts as a separate attack. So while they're marked by the special, they take incremental percentage bases like 15, 30, and then max level 60% of your base attack damage, no matter who that base attack hits.
oh, wow.
And it's a bouncing special,
Yeah.
but it also applies to the primary target. So if I'm fighting Lerny,
Yeah.
I can hit him with my special, he gets marked, and then I hit him with a fully charged power shot. He takes the full damage from that shot as well as 60% damage as a separately triggered attack. So if I was building the hell out of Artemis, all of the crit builds, all of the extra damage on crit builds, I killed each phase of Lerny in a single shot.
Yeah.
Damn.
One special and then one attack.
I believe that's the most viable thing for speedrunners. I'd have to double check that, but I think that's
you
what
can
they
jump
do
a couple
because
specials.
they can just charge through rooms. I'd be curious to see. I should have looked this up beforehand, like how fast speedrunners get through these rooms. Yeah, but we can talk about the heart-seeking bow, the Kornock. I love this weapon. I initially thought it was going to suck, but it wound up becoming maybe my most efficient weapon. This and the spear I like a lot. But yeah, you mentioned the aspect of Rama. You have the Celestial Sharanga, which is the shared suffering. The second weapon you unlock, though, most likely will be the Eternal Spear, Varatha. Spear I love. I love this because it has distance, and I was afraid of those little chariots. They scared the fuck out of me.
Oh, I hate those things.
Yeah.
I've probably lost more health.
Flame
to
wheels?
those.
Are those flame wheels?
Flame wheels.
Yeah.
The little exploding ones.
Yeah. The aspect of Guan Yu, which I played Dynasty Warriors 2, so I know what they're talking about here. You have the Frostfair Blade, but your life and healing are reduced. Do you like the Frostfair Blade, Miles?
It was the only spear I used for a very long time.
It's so damaging. I guess maybe I haven't upgraded it enough, but like to have my health down to like 50 as a start. And
I've got it maxed out. You only lose 30%, 40% of your health, I think.
What's the benefit of the Frostfair Blade?
Well, it reduces your maximum health and reduces your overall healing from all sources.
But-
however, the charged spin attack launches a spinning blade similar to the aspect of Zeus on the shield.
Okay.
You can throw out like the blitz disc.
Okay.
So it launches launches a spinning blade forwards, and every hit with that blade heals you.
Oh.
Well, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. And
Yeah.
if you get the hammer upgrades for like the charge speed and the Hermes buff for attack speed,
Yeah.
you can essentially throw out a fully charged blade in under 3 seconds that can heal you almost to full.
And just so everybody knows, there's also other aspects to these weapons. We're not going to talk about all of them. There's a whole fuck ton to this game.
I think the most defining characteristic of the like final form or the last aspect of each one is that each of those aspects occurs in the future.
Yes, and there is a unique quest tied to it as well, where it's like you have to get Excalibur out of Hades so someday Arthur can use it.
Oh, shit. That's cool.
You have to get it to the surface. You don't even have to beat Hades with it. Just get it to the surface and die, and that quest is complete. Hopefully, you spank him. But eventually, though, you're also just like taking a rocket launch route, and it's just everyone's confused. Like, wait a second, what? Yeah, it's cool though. That's a cool like story beat. That
Each of them are just like foretold by the fates, so they will exist eventually. Like for the gun, you get the aspect of Lucifer, but before he falls, when he's still the light bringer.
Oh, wow.
the adamant rail is either great or terrible, depending on what build I wind up with.
Yeah.
If it's anything based on attack, I'm miserable. I hate the reload. I don't enjoy it.
You can deal with that.
He's like, fuck you, Brad. David, do you like the adamant rail at all?
I haven't used it a whole lot. Mainly using the Heartseeker bow, shield. But
So do you actively avoid the adamant rail?
I wouldn't say actively, but I think it's just not my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a gun,
Yeah.
and that's fine. But he has the big bomb, like the grenade launcher. And depending on what I wind up getting Daedalus hammers with, will affect how much fun I'm having with that for sure.
I actively avoid it.
It was
I've only used it like 2 or 3 times.
well, if you get the right build, you become an insane powerhouse. And I mean, one of the aspects for Exagriff, you get the aspect of Eris, which you shoot your special, and if you are in the area where it lands, you have increased attack power. So you're just shooting up into an area and you're landing in it. So you're just like grenade launching everyone. You're just a masochist out in the field, just punishing yourself and everybody. You're getting off on it.
You're just reabsorbing explosive power.
Yeah, like that one's fun. And then if you get the right Daedalus hammers, where you have my favorite Daedalus pair, maybe of all, is one of your special is wider, and then you also get shoot your special 3 times. So eventually you're shooting 3 giant specials. Almost the entire map is covered, and you are getting increased attack power every time you landed it. And I don't know if it would stack if you get hit by 2 specials at once.
No, it just resets the timer.
Okay.
Although it is hilarious to me that aspect maybe, or at least to my knowledge, is the only aspect that has a Daedalus hammer upgrade that completely negates its own passive.
Right. Yes. Because
there's a hammer upgrade you can get for the special.
yeah.
So on that aspect, obviously, like you said, you have to absorb the special. You have to be hit by the special
Yes.
to gain your extra attack damage. The
But-
special does not normally damage you. But there's a hammer upgrade that causes the special to be larger and deal significantly more damage, but it also damages you.
And the trick is, if you dash right when those hit, you get the perk and you don't get hit.
You can still use your little iframes to...
Yes, if
Not
you are
take the
in the
damage.
area and you dodge, I think there's a way you can avoid that, but it's tough.
You're just playing anxiety speedrun at that point.
For sure. Yeah. The Shield of Chaos, Aegis, you said you liked that one, David.
Yep.
The shield I initially loved and I wound up moving away from. I liked the distance that you have with your special. That was cool.
Oh, sorry. No, it's like I said, matching it with Athena and the deflect is just like, it made me also live a lot longer as well.
Yeah,
Before, like when I started early game and just kind of starting out. So that was nice. And yeah, it just, I don't know, there's that in the Heartseeker bow for me.
Are we waiting to share these or
Oh, I didn't know who brought them, so I didn't.
I just kind of brought them in case you guys want to try them. Get after it. Split it up. Take one. I don't care.
Let's get after it.
Let's get after it. Let's get after it. The aspect of Beowulf is the highest level of the Shield of Chaos. You have Nagling's board.
Ooh, yeah.
But you like that one.
Oh, I love
That's the one where you throw the shield and it just kind of hovers around.
No, that's Zeus's.
That's Zeus's.
So the Nagling board,
That's a dash attack.
it upgrades your dash attack. It changes your move set, similar to Excalibur. It's a wider, slower, heavier attack and special.
Yeah.
You take 10% more damage across the board.
Okay.
You take 10% more damage from all sources.
Yeah.
However, you've got a heavy attack, you've got a heavy special, and you can load your cast into the shield to trigger a dragon rush
Okay.
instead of the regular bull rush.
I didn't understand what I was doing. I remember when I was using this, because I had to use it to get it to the surface on the Switch.
Yeah.
I didn't understand this fucking thing. I was using my cast, and I was just like throwing them up, and nothing happened.
So it...
And I was loading them in my shield, is what you're telling me.
Yeah. It loads it into your shield.
I was pissed off.
It increases the damage done by your dash.
Yeah.
It doubles the width of your dash attack. So instead of just striking enemies directly in front of you, you can actually hit everything in a large swath. And then any upgrades you get for your cast, like if you get Demeter's cast or like Ares cast or anything like that, those effects are triggered at the end of the dash in a single shockwave.
Okay. Cool. I like that. Didn't understand it.
Basically, it costs you one of your two ranged options, though, as the shield.
Yeah.
Because your only ranged option then becomes the special, the heavy throw.
And one of my favorite weapons, the Twin Fists of Malphon. Big old gloves. I don't love the base version of it. It's fine. It's totally great, viable, but the aspect of Talos is one of my favorite things to run with. That's where your special becomes Magnetic Cutter. Essentially, I will not use regular attack at all. And Magnetic Cutter is you just special draws any enemy you're facing in, and you just beat the shit out of them. You get a few good Daedalus hammers, like whenever you land, 90 damage. You can also get one where every time you kill an enemy, you get +2 hearts. So I'll just be sitting there healing myself, just throwing fists left and right. I love it.
My favorite thing about the Magnetic Cutter is it's one of the few weapons where I actively seek out Poseidon.
Because you push him away and you pull him in.
Pulling him in...
It's like my ex-wife. Actually, I don't have one. Tyler has one.
On that, however, it can also trigger through walls.
Yeah.
And on the opposite side of boulder fall traps.
Okay.
So you can pull them into walls to wall slam or corner them.
Yeah.
And those can also trigger the Poseidon effects.
They must be very confused on the other side of the wall.
Like Yanks or like his legendary that pulls them twice.
Yeah.
His knockbacks and his watery blasts.
Yeah.
All can trigger when you pull them into the wall with the initial Magnetic Cutter.
Boom. Take that.
It's insane.
Take that. And the final aspect of Malphon, with the aspect of Gilgamesh, you have the claws of Enkidu. So you have the claws of his dog before he was ever born. I'm just curious. Enkidu's his dog, right? It's been a while since I learned about Gilgamesh. If that's the case, I feel bad that we have his puppy's paws before his puppy was born. Something's weird there.
Just warming him up.
Yeah, just warming him up. Whose dash upper can maim foes. They take 25% more damage, but deal 50% more damage to Zagreus. So it's the way it goes. But you just use the Magnetic Cutter anyways.
Oh, yeah. Or the other one. The multi-special one I like.
There's a lot to this game.
I know.
There's a lot.
There's so much.
There's also... there's a lot. There's some other rooms as well. Sisyphus is in Tartarus. Great guy. He's getting tortured by the Furies, but he's got a good buddy named Boldy, who is probably my favorite character in the game. Boldy, you'll learn more about the more you talk with Sisyphus. Eventually, though, Sisyphus confides in you. He's like, yeah, I talk with Boldy. He's cool. And then he's like, you should talk with him. And then you talk with Boldy, and he just smiles at you because he's a fucking boulder.
A boulder that Sisyphus carved a face into so he wouldn't be lonely.
But you can give Boldy eventually ambrosia, and you'll get a perk, and it says, you check the perk, it says, you believe in Boldy, and Boldy believes in you. You get like plus 1% to attack or something.
It's random every time.
It's random, and it's not big necessarily, but it just feels good, man.
It's random, and some of them do nothing.
And it's one of those things, though, where I will talk with Boldy every chance I get, just like my Shade, because, I don't know, I just feel like Boldy's a good boy.
Some of them will give you tiny buffs to like attack or gold gain.
Yeah.
And some of them do literally nothing. It'll be like plus 2% to camaraderie.
Yeah.
Oh.
and I'm there for that. Eurydice is in the second area. Asphodel?
Yeah.
Asphodel. And essentially she calls me Hun, and I love her. She tells me how to make caramelized onions. She complains about her ex-boyfriend, who you keep saying you should give him a chance. And I guess that's okay, but she's great. If you ever have a chance to see Eurydice, she'll give you like plus levels, plus rarities. She's awesome.
She cooks a dish for you. It's adorable.
I love it. Yeah, and she's always singing, which
I like her song when you come in.
I won't say. I was going to sing it. I'll play it here instead. Yeah. We'll spare everyone that.
They change up too.
I think I only recognize the first one right now.
Yeah. Eventually, there'll be two people singing sometimes.
Well, I'm assuming that storyline's got to come together at some point.
And Patroclus is a sad boy. Granted, he's probably been there thousands of years, dying without the person he loves. I'd be sad, maybe as well. I don't know, maybe move on, drink some water.
The beautiful thing about that game is all of those side characters have really depressing stories you can deal with.
Yeah, essentially you're out there fixing problems for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who isn't positively affected outside of Theseus.
Oh, he's positively affected. He's learning humility.
No, Theseus is getting off on how cool he is.
He's learning humility. He's getting shit kicked by the demon he refers to.
He goes home and just angry tweets that you know that is what Theseus is up to. That's all he cares about. We mentioned some of the other people. Yeah, Patroclus and Achilles want to get back together. Thanatos, my boyfriend, great guy. He's cool. There is Dusa, Meg, Hypnos. Hypnos is great as well. Big fan of Hypnos. He's kind of a doofus. Yeah, like the way of making his story better is you just convince him to start doing a better job.
Just actually doing his job.
Just do your job a little bit, man. Like you can sleep. You can sleep a lot still if you just phone in just a little less.
Literally, just your boyfriend's little brother. You're trying to mentor.
Yeah. Yeah. Then there is Chaos. Chaos is great. Chaos Gates. You've unlocked Chaos Gates?
Yeah.
Chaos is risk reward. Take a damage. Have some difficult encounters for what is potentially an amazing perk or something that is fine, depending on how it works out. But I usually take the Chaos Gate if I can afford it. But it also, if I'm right before Theseus and Asterius, I might not go in. But
I think until I unlocked the very late game ones, like the Persephone Keepsake, I probably used the Chaos Egg very much the most.
Oh, really?
By far.
I barely used it ever.
Yeah. It increased your chances of getting a Chaos Gate. It made you not lose health to go through the Chaos Gate.
Yeah.
And it increased the chance of getting a epic or rare boon from Chaos.
Which keepsakes? Keepsakes, if you give enough ambrosia to certain characters and talk with them enough, they'll give you a keepsake. It's only one. Just give them one and they'll give you the keepsake, but then you can keep giving them more? Or does it give them 3?
You give them one of the higher level, the ambrosia, not the nectar.
Okay.
And you get the keepsake. Some characters also have the little pets.
The companions.
The chthonic companions you can get later.
But what keepsake is it that every 4 to 6 encounters you get a +1 level for
That's
one?
Persephone's.
That's Persephone's.
Yeah, it's the Palm Blossom.
That might be my favorite.
That's the one I use the most now.
I haven't gotten that one yet.
No.
I have like 3 to go. I think 3 or 4 are missing.
I mean, there's some good ones.
You have to
depending
get
on
really far. It's legitimately the either last or second to last keepsake you unlock.
Yeah, I usually just pick whatever boon I want. Like if I'm gonna go with Poseidon, I usually pick his boon just so I get one at the beginning, and then I'll change it up after
the next one.
TARDIS.
The only reason I
Tartarus.
don't take the Olympian keepsakes at the beginning of every run is because I want that tiny chance of getting a hammer right away.
Oh yeah, true.
Always get the Daedalus hammer if you can.
Yeah. So that's legitimately the only reason I never take the Olympian keepsakes from the start is because I want that tiny little 5% chance of getting a hammer.
Did you know that when you were looking at the rewards for the chambers, if the laurels on the outside are blue, that means they're currency rewards. If they're gold, that means they're upgrade rewards. I didn't know that. That was one little thing I learned doing this research. Because if you're doing the Fated Authority, is that the Fated one? Because there's the Authority where you can re-roll boons, but then there's one where you can like change what the next room will be.
Yeah.
And you can tell if you have a potential to get different currencies or different upgrades.
Yeah, because
if
it'll
you're
always
paying
be
attention.
from that same category.
Yeah. So the color of the laurels on there make a difference.
Well, don't the hammers and Hermes fall in a separate category as well, don't they?
Yeah, I forget which category they fall in, but yeah, they do.
I'm not sure how the Divine Authority affects that, though.
I forget how it falls in.
Because I think the Divine Authority can re-roll like a hammer into an Olympian boon, but not vice versa.
You can get companions. Companions are a thing you don't get until near the end. They actually have some unique story elements as well. Certain characters will give you a summon, essentially. Track to your left trigger, depending on what you're playing with. And they'll like just do big attacks or drop health or distract enemies. They're great. But Skelly is one. I'll just say Skelly's one you can get. And Skelly will have unique dialogue for like Thanatos. Like unique dialogue will happen if you summon them for specific battles. Also, sometimes like when Dusa disappears, if you try and summon Dusa, she won't show up and Zag gets really sad because he'll do the summon and nothing shows up, depending on where you are story-wise. And no matter what, if you summon a companion to fight Hades, Hades has some fucking comment about it. And usually they're all sorry that they're there.
He's got some shit to say. He threatens Dusa almost every time.
Poor Dusa.
If you summon poor little Dusa against Hades, he threatens to take her job.
Oh man, how dare he? I'd whoop his ass just for that.
Have you fought the other boss, David? There is a boss that
Named
is
David?
optionable. No, there's a boss that is optional, which I didn't find until much later, and I don't want to spoil who it is in case Tyler hasn't. But have you fought an extra boss?
I'm guessing that's what the one undiscovered character in my codex might be.
No, it isn't.
Well, I got somebody.
There's another character, but you've met this character. I will say this: that character, when you fight them, they have a very long reach for some of their attacks. I think they might be the most difficult boss in the game.
Oh, by far.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
That's
tough.
why there's a separate achievement for beating them twice.
In a row.
In a row. You got to beat them twice in a row.
That's the whole challenge.
The worst part.
And they're not always available, but when you do get them, I will need all of my Death Defiances and also just be ready. Because if it's early on in my build and I'm not ready for it, I'll skip it if I had to get two in a row. There is a boss that will fucking rock you.
The ironic thing too,
it's just the reach of their swing is crazy.
well, and the number of like area attacks that are completely disjointed from the character.
Also, though, when you go back and you're like, "Are you mad?" and they're like, "Eh." They're like, "It's kind of fun."
It kills me that boss is so hard that you feel the need to over prepare for them, like have a lot of really strong boons.
Yeah.
However, the reward for beating them is only useful the earlier you get it.
And it's not even that. It's not even that.
So
useful.
you can make more use of it.
It's not even that useful. It's fine. Yeah, we didn't mention a lot of things. You can get job promotions. You can go fishing. You can buy disco balls. You can
learn to play the lute.
You can learn
or the lyre.
It takes a long fucking time, but eventually you do get to the point where you strum a little bit and it's great. You can buy dog toys. You can put up horny posters in your bedroom. I'm just trying to think of all the great things you can do.
I mean, the first thing you have to buy is cleaning up after your dog, which, if any of us don't understand that, holy crap.
Yeah. Still a good boy, though. I like that the first time you see Persephone, one of the first things she asks is, how's Cerberus? You're alive. How's the dog?
No, Hades says to tell her that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, just
tell her Cerberus
tell her Cerberus is doing fine. Because he's all defeated and broken and
in true
upset.
stoic fashion.
Yeah, and I thought he was going to say something like profound or deeply meaningful. And he's like, just tell the ex that the dog is all right.
That's the most emotion he was allowed to show.
Yeah.
We won't mention the ending since you haven't quite seen it all and you haven't seen it, but I do find the credit sequence, the first one, it's just beautiful. It's stunning, visually satisfying. The music in this game, Darren knocks it out of the park across the board. It's stunning that it's just one person just cranking it out in front of a computer. I crank it out in front of a computer and
nothing that beautiful
it's
comes.
not beautiful music. I'll do it in a sound booth. It's still not good.
Get some more reverb at least.
I mean, I don't think much else to say. Beat Hades if you haven't with extremist measures. If you think you're hardcore. I think I've only beaten him twice with extremist measures because why would I put myself through it? Yeah.
It's so bad.
A third phase where it's 5 times harder than the second phase.
If I had the option to fight just Hades with extreme measures, I'd prefer it. But Theseus and Asterius, that freaking chariot.
Well, no, I've gotten to the point where I prefer the chariot to his other version. Because I can see where the chariot's going more than I can pay attention to where he's doing his random range attacks from.
I guess it's more telegraphed, but he still locks on you.
And I've gotten used to learning enough to where I can dash and not jump into lava most of the time.
Stay on the islands.
Yeah. Great game. Fucking love this game.
Yeah, that's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Final thoughts for you,
11 out of
David?
10.
Oh, I absolutely love everything about the game. Love the story, love the characters, love the voice acting, love the music, love the, just unique, not repetitive gameplay, but just a lot of replayability.
There are so many games that require you to make a build. I've had this issue with, like, Bloodborne is the first one that I have a major issue with. You played Bloodborne? You haven't. You haven't. But Bloodborne, you can have such unique builds and approaches to where you spec your stats. But if you want to try something else, you need to be about 40 hours in. You can't, I mean, I'm being a little gratuitous there, but you can't just randomly try a different weapon. You might not be able to use that weapon for an entire playthrough. Whereas what's great about this game is not only are there different options, like avenues to play, these 6 weapons, each one of those weapons have 4 aspects. Each one of those weapons have 20 Daedalus hammers. And then you stack the boons in there. Every time you play, you're getting a different build, and it encourages different gameplay, and it makes you be involved in making choices by having multiple door exits. It's brilliant. It's so good at encouraging and making you, like, forcing you to try stuff. Other games, I would have just grabbed the spear and it would have been a happy spear boy. And I still would have loved it. And I was said, like, this is a 10 out of 10. I love this game. But the fact that they will make me play with all the other options, not many games are viable in that way, that they can force me to try a different gameplay approach. It blows my mind how great it is.
Plus the repetitiveness of what you have to do in this game kind of lends to, like, I'll use the bow 3-4 times in a row sometimes and either die or, like, today I beat Hades with it. So I guess I was doing pretty good. But after I die a couple times, rather than like, all right, I'm gonna play something else, or like this game got old, I'll just get a different weapon. And just having the different weapon, even if I'm using the same boons, it's an entirely different game, even with the same upgrades. And then, I mean, switching from range to, like, the sword is what I've been using a lot now. So getting up there and getting dirty, like, I end up playing a totally different build. And then sometimes you just launch in and, like, see what I'm going to get and where I'm going to go with it. Like, I don't have a build plan, but I'm starting with Dionysus. So let's get after it.
Oh, I rarely plan builds. Even this far into the game, I have a general idea of what I like with different weapons based solely on either aspects or like base attack speed, things like that. Like Dionysus works well with high attack speed. Ares works well with low attack speed because he has those doom effects that take time. But outside of that, like outside of just a game sense of what works well mostly, I enter every run completely organically. Just like, let's work with what we got. Let's see what can work and let's see what might work.
Yeah, and if it sucks, you're going to die in 20 minutes and you can start over. So it's not like you wasted your whole day.
Yeah. Amen. But then I did waste my whole day by doing 20 more runs.
I think
I bought this I already beat it like 180 attempts on one console. I'm like, I need it again.
I got to be able to play this game outside of the house.
I will say, if you like, the Switch is interesting because you can cross save with the PC. So you can transfer your save over. I wish this worked for the other consoles as well, but the Xbox Series X version on a big fucking TV looks glorious. The Switch version on a big TV looks mucky. On that little Switch screen, though, if it's portable, you are in heaven. It's great.
Oh, yeah.
The gameplay is solid, but yeah. I will say the animation at the beginning of the game, I don't think there should be a Netflix series, but I do like just seeing Zagreus move around in that world.
I think they should pay Supergiant to make a TV series. I don't think Netflix should try and make a TV series.
Whoever's like making the Castlevania series.
Netflix.
That's Netflix.
Is it? I guess I haven't seen I saw some of the Castlevania show, but people love it.
Castlevania is great. Yeah. No, I thought that the entire time I was playing it. Like, Netflix needs more content. Just make this. Let them make it, but you can put your name on it, I guess.
But they have to have the same writer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I had the numbers. I didn't say it earlier.
I would watch the shit out of this show.
Oh, so much. They do such a good job of bringing individual character to every one of the gods.
Yeah.
10 hours worth of dialogue, 21,220 lines in a game that on the surface level, it just seems kind of light on story because it is just do a fucking run. Do a fucking run. Yeah. But then Aphrodite just like blowing kisses at you. I'm like, whatever, dude. I was just hanging out.
Oh, I checked today my playtime on Epic Games Store, which is the only one I personally own it on.
Yeah.
260 hours. I'm still getting new voice lines.
Yeah, me
after
too.
every run.
Yes. It blows my mind. Yeah, there are some... I tried to look up rare dialogue and rare moments. There was a bunch, but I don't remember them offhand. And with that, we all rank it as fucking play it. Here at the Dogcast, we exist because of people like you. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions or thoughts about this episode or anything at all about Hades, reach out to us on Instagram at Hair the Dogcast. We are on Twitter at HotDogcast. And you can email us at hairthedogcast@gmail.com. If you want access to a bunch of episodes that are completely exclusive, bonus, locked behind paywalls, check us out on patreon.com/hairthedogcast. We have a podcast where we talk about movies. We have episodes available up to over a month early, maybe a year early sometimes even, which is great. Our executive producers are Ryan Christianick, Tyler Keller, Kip, Brian Ward, and Katie Bone. Thanks for your executive support. And we are part of the HyperX Podcast Network. For more information, check out podcast.hyperx.com. Our upcoming episode topic is Disco Elysium, where we will be joined by another member of somebody from Lost Whale. Someone else from Lost Whale that I know. Julian's coming on that episode. And I will learn why Disco Elysium is a great game, despite having played it. I will learn from other people who know more than I do. I'm excited. I don't hate the game, but Disco Elysium is up next for Indie Games Month, and this is Hair the Dogcast. So we do have one for the road. If you have any recommendations for a movie, TV show, book, song, if you have any recommendations at all, now is a good time to make those. I'll just say, check out Mormon True Crime. That's what me and Carly have been into lately. Shit's funny. I mean, scary. But Under the Banner of Heaven on Hulu is great, starring Andrew Garfield. There's a scary Netflix documentary. It's on your top recommendeds. There's an HBO Max one, too, which is based on documents being discovered about white salamanders and it destroying the church. So check out some Mormon True Crime. That's my recommendation. Tyler, you got anything?
My recommendation, I probably don't need to recommend because I think everybody's probably pretty down with it already. But the second half of Stranger Things comes out on Friday, and season 4 has been just an absolute grand slam.
Yep.
I love the shit out of this.
Wait. When we record this, that's not out. So give a review for what you think has happened.
Wait. Oh, because the season's going to be out.
Because those 2 episodes will be out by the time this episode is released. So I need you to give a preemptive review of the final 2 episodes.
My preemptive review of the final 2 episodes were that was 5 hours of really awesome CGI work by the Duffer Brothers. They really knocked it out of the park. But no, yes, I've always really enjoyed Stranger Things, and I've been on the record for a long time saying that my favorite show of all time has been Breaking Bad. Because Breaking Bad is a masterpiece. Yeah. With season 4, and depending on how they close out Stranger Things, and because Game of Thrones shit the bed so royally, I think Stranger Things has the chance to take the top spot as my favorite show of all time. Because season 4 has just been balls to the wall bonkers. I love that show. So if you haven't watched it already, what are you doing with yourself? What do you do in your spare time? Yeah. If you haven't seen Stranger Things.
I think it was
Have you seen Stranger Things?
Not at all.
What do you do in your spare time? I got somebody right here who's never seen it.
Right now, I'm watching the new episodes of The Boys as they release.
Oh, I got to catch up on that.
Yeah, I just finished the final season of Peaky Blinders.
I just started watching that.
Significantly more emotional than I expected.
Oh.
I saw the show started out very, it's a show about a freaking back alley razor gang.
Yeah.
It's very gratuitous. It's very...
I saw the first 2 seasons as they aired, and then I think when the 3rd season came out, I just kind of fell off because I was like, I don't want to have to rewatch everything. But I just started season 1 again 2 nights ago.
Oh, it's solid.
Yeah.
It starts out really strong, really violent, really intelligent in their violence. And the last season threw me for a loop so hard in the best way.
I can't wait.
I have a prediction for Stranger Things. It's already out by the time I'm saying this, so this is a prediction, but...
Don't.
Premonition.
Don't.
Who's the D&D character?
Eddie.
I thought it was Eddie. Yeah. Eddie has a guitar in the trailer.
Yeah,
He is going to be in the Upside Down.
Shredding.
And he's going to be waking himself up with the music, possibly playing Run to the Hills, running up that hill.
By Iron Maiden.
Yep, he's going to be shredding.
Iron Maiden's great. I almost wore my Iron Maiden shirt today.
But he'll be playing his own song. David, do you have one for the road?
Oh, Righteous Gemstones with Danny McBride.
Hell yeah.
Very good.
Adam Devine and
John Goodman. They do a really good job of past and present, setting them up with it's not CGI, but it's really good makeup to make them look younger. The de-aging works.
It really does. It's spooky. Then also watching True Detective season 1 and 3 again. Those are really good.
Skipping 2.
Yeah. Aggressive.
And then we'll always watch Goodfellas. It's got Joe Pesci, Ray Liotta.
You think I'm a funny guy?
Are you a funny guy?
What, you think I'm funny?
Well, I look funny to you.
Do I look funny? Come over here and fucking shine my shoes.
Get your fucking shine box.
Yeah. Ray Liotta, rest in peace.
R.I.P. So, yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. And then Stranger Things when it comes out.
Sure.
Trying to think anything else.
No, that's a lot.
Not Top Chef. Kitchen Stadium came out again with the remake with Alton Brown. It's been updated, so it's pretty good.
Is that a competition?
Yes.
I like that you called it a remake. I like that they just brought in better actors from the first season and did the exact same story, but they just did it with more...
so it's a super old school, starting in Japan or something like that.
Are you talking about Iron Chef?
Iron Chef.
Because I have Hiroyuki Sakai and Chen Kenichi's autographs. In 8th grade, you had to write letters to your favorite celebrities or corporations, and I wrote letters to all the Iron Chefs. And 2 of them sent me autographed menus. Hiroyuki Sakai wrote me a very broken English letter. It's great.
I respect that, actually. That's awesome.
Dear Mr. Bradley, when is the time for your visit to Japan? Thoughts of a friend from a far country. Hiroyuki Sakai. And I was like, oh. Everyone else was writing Hershey's. It's fuck you. How about you, Miles?
I don't know. I guess for the TV shows, I kind of already mentioned them, right? Just watching The Boys and...
Go see that Hero-gasm.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
They ran out of fake semen.
I actually was insanely excited for this season of The Boys because I'm also a huge Supernatural fan.
Ooh.
So I've been following Jensen Ackles for a long time.
Okay.
And he gave an interview, or not necessarily an interview. He was talking online for a minute about the one scene he absolutely refused to do. Literally the only thing in the script he actually refused to do while playing this new character, Soldier Boy.
Which was at Herogasm?
It was in this. It would have been in this episode in Herogasm. There was a scene from the comics.
Was he getting down and dirty?
Not by choice.
Uh-oh. I remember I've never seen this before, a show. It's like, consensual sex is cool. Group sex is fine if everyone's into it. Sex with animals is weird. We don't know what we're talking about. Watch the show.
Oh, yeah. It was ironically the first episode of this show that had a disclaimer at the beginning. And it said, please keep in mind that all scenes of consensual sex between people, multiple people, or people and animals is
Fictional
and mostly just cost us a lot in special effects.
Yeah.
But he openly stated that there was a single scene from the comics that he, as a father and husband, could not allow his family to see him doing.
So go Google that as well if you're watching.
Yeah, and yeah, it's very interesting.
Write reviews if you want. We love you. You guys are great. Go play Hades if you haven't. And if you have more attempts than me, definitely reach out. I'm throwing down here. I guess if you have less of a life than me.
Oh, and if you dig Hades, definitely check out Transistor.
Yeah.
It's got a moderately similar combat style, but it's got a sort of hybrid turn-based, action-based combat.
Okay. Is that the one that's more like sports?
No, that's Pyre.
Okay, because they have one that's like sports.
Yeah, the Pyre is essentially like ground-based Quidditch with... Essentially, there's goals on either side. It's three-person teams. You have to score goals.
David just went...
you have to score goals into the hoops, but there's this like really interesting narrative structure to it where you have
Severus Snape shows up and talks shit.
Where cast a spell on you.
Each of the three-person teams is competing to be the championship team in each quote-unquote season.
Okay.
But one person from each team gets to escape the prison they're all being forced to play in.
Azkaban.
So you build this team, you play through a whole essentially series or season together, and then one person gets to leave permanently. And through the narrative structure of these characters kind of getting to know each other as they're playing on a team, your other characters have to say goodbye to someone forever.
And we have to say goodbye to our dear audience. We love you all. Good luck escaping home.
Yeah. Go play Hades.
Go hug your mom and tell your dad that you're working hard.
Yep.
Good morning or night.
Yeah.
Or just play Hades.
Bye.
Prime Day is coming. Check out the HyperX store on Amazon.com to find great Prime Day deals on July 12th and July 13th. Stock up on the latest gaming gear from HyperX, so you'll be ready for all the new launches and content drops this summer. Mark your calendars and set your alarms. Deals like this will not be around long.